So what I have done is I have decided to ask a number of questions. And tonight, that's what we'll be doing. I'm going to be going through a few questions. And hopefully you guys will find the answers entertaining. And so in all full disclosure, I'll have to say this to you. Um, I have not prepared the responses for this presentation tonight. This will be an off the cuff, spontaneous uh, experience. So come ride along. Okay, come ride along. We're going to together experience the replies from ChatGPT as I ask it questions that I have submitted. Okay, so I have all these questions, and and what I'm going to do now is we're going to ask the questions, and then together we're going to watch ChatGPT generate responses. So this should be fun for everyone, and we'll get into it now. Okay. And so the first one, what's up, Jake Brooks? And thank you for the super sticker, sir. Okay, Jake Brooks in the house says, well, he says nothing. It's a 1999 super sticker with a little puppy or a deer. It's hard to tell, holding a winning cup. Okay. So for those of you who can't see it, it's a little championship pup, I guess. All right. Thank you, Jake. Thank you, Jake. All right. So ChatGPT, here we go. We're going to experience a little ChatGPT interaction. So this will be real time. Okay, thank you very much. It's a new day, and Jake Brooks and Dark Arts by Adrian, Plain Iron, Carla Ann, all you guys. So let's take this little trip together. Okay. Here we go. So this says, first question. Okay, first question. What would you expect to see in the online narrative around a true crime case that was infiltrated with PR teams and domestic terrorists versus a case with an authentic community that was not infiltrated? Okay, you guys ready for this? This should be fun. All right. Okay. The response. This is a powerful and timely question. The online narrative surrounding a true crime case can differ drastically depending on whether it is being manipulated by PR teams and domestic terrorist influences. That's pretty interesting. Versus being organically shaped by an authentic, uninfiltrated community. Okay, here's a key breakdown of the key differences you might expect to see. Okay, interesting. Whoa, sorry. I goofed. Okay. Infiltrated narrative by PR teams and domestic terrorists. You would expect to see astroturfing and manufactured consensus. Does it I can't even get too far without commenting. Doesn't that seem familiar? Does that sound familiar? Astroturfing and manufactured consent? Excuse me, hold on. Now that was an authentic sneeze. Woo! I tell you what, that was a huge sneeze. All right. Now back to this. Astroturfing and manufactured consensus. That sounds familiar, doesn't it? Think Twitter. Think chats. Think chats. Okay. So first question is, what is astroturfing? Okay. So let me astroturfing is defined as the deceptive practice of presenting an orchestrated marketing or public relations campaign in the guise of unsolicited comments from members of the public. Okay? Once again, the deceptive practice of hiding sponsors of an orchestrated message or organization, political, advertising, religious, or public relations campaign to make it appear as though it originates from and is supported by an unsolicited grassroots participants. It's a practice intended to give statements or organizations credibility by withholding information about the source's backers. Okay? The implication behind the use of the term is that instead of a true or natural grassroots effort, there's a fake or artificial appearance of support. Okay? It's increasingly recognized as a problem in social media. Astroturfing can influence public opinion by flooding platforms with manipulated content and or comments. Okay, so astroturfing. Manufactured consensus, meaning everyone agrees. Appearance of grassroots support or outrage that feels coordinated. That's an important point, I believe. Okay, that what you will see will feel coordinated. Okay, so just keep this in mind. These are the signs, these are the red flags of infiltrated narrative control. It feels coordinated because it's astroturf. Large volumes of similar posts, language, hashtags, or slogans across accounts that appear unrelated. Okay. Sounds familiar. Also, comment sections filled with repetitive talking points. This is astroturfing and manufactured consent. Okay. Here's another one, shifting the blame and narrative control. Sudden shifts in focus from perpetrators to victims or unrelated parties. Okay, shifts in focus. Shifts in focus from perpetrators. Okay, that means Prof was over here talking about who killed Abby and Libby. Let's put it in Delphi murders language. Prof was here talking about who killed Abby and Libby. Okay. The astroturfing changes it to victims or unrelated parties. Let's talk about Richard Allen, Free Rick. This is no longer about Abby and Libby. This is about Free Rick Allen, right? Or shifts from perpetrators. Who released the video? Who tried to compel Kathy Allen to sign a contract? Where's the fundraising money? Okay, those, who's behind the bad things? Perpetrators. To, how dare you victimize us? Let's talk about what Adrian and Prof do wrong, how they're conspiracy theorists. All right. Disinformation campaigns designed to muddy the waters. Okay, that's narrative control. Disinformation. Think case by case. Case by case. Amy and Freckle Joy. Case by case. Disinformation campaigns. Or how about this? Troll farm. Let's talk about Prof's son, Prof's dad, Prof's this, Prof's kid, Adrian, Alex, conspiracy theory. Let's talk about anything else. Attempts to delegitimize. Let's discredit. Okay? Attempts to delegitimize or discredit credible investigators, journalists, or victims. So remember when I first stepped out and spoke out about this? I was saying my first red flag to Michael Osbrook was that he was trying to discredit Christine and Erica behind the scenes and me. Okay, the way this all started is about trial time or right pre-trial, okay, around the time of the trial, I started noticing, because people were coming to me and saying, do you realize Michael Osbrook is doing this behind the scenes? Michael Osbrook is saying this. Michael Osbrook is doing this. People were coming to me saying that repeatedly around the time of trial. The attempts to discredit myself, Christine, and Erica. Why? Why? Shifting the blame and narrative control. High volume, low substance posts. Flooding of hashtags or discussion threads with spammy content to dilute substantive discussion. Posts that feign outrage or concern but lack depth or show no actual knowledge of the case. Was the subject of my last live stream, right? I said that the Friday live stream just prior, I thought we were done with this topic. Character assassination, coordinated attacks on key figures like the prof, like Adrian, okay, and their family members. Using smears. What else is this? Oh, look. Doxing and conspiracy framing. Oh, that sounds familiar, doesn't it? Oh, yeah, you're doxing Prof. You're doxing Christy. You're doxing others. Okay, you're calling us conspiracies. Remember, HCC, he did a whole live recently that was creepy as fuck, in which he framed us as conspiracy theorists. Luke, just in Rick's live, framed us as conspiracy theorists. The use of bots or sock puppet accounts to spread rumors, amplify attack. Well, we call that trolling accounts. Okay, this is called trolls, troll farm. The use of fake accounts, sock puppet accounts, alt accounts, troll accounts, fake accounts to spread rumors and amplify attacks. You've seen nothing but that. You've seen nothing but that. Algorithm manipulation, paid promotion, or artificial engagement to boost certain narratives. You know, those people who've bought subscribers, okay, who they use all 20 of their troll accounts to come hit the thumbs up on their own comments, and they hit the thumbs down on the Prof's or Adrian's or anyone else's who's authentic, right? Search engine optimization tricks to bury relevant information under sensationalized, misleading content. Radicalization vectors, subtle redirection of case discussions toward extremist ideologies. Yes, Rick Allen is completely innocent no matter what. Okay? Luigi is completely innocent no matter what. Brian Kohlberger is extremely innocent no matter what. Okay, it's called extremist liberal ideologies aimed at making everyone innocent every time, the state completely overreaching and powerful every time, and use of code words or memes like doing a journalism, doing a Google. Okay. Radicalization vectors, mean girls. Now, let's compare those. And remember, this is just question number one. Okay, this is a reply to question number one. Right. All right. So next up, what are some signs of authentic community-driven narrative? Okay, authentic. We're talking about what's authentic. In other words, who are not the plants? Those who are emotional, nuanced, and human detailed, including personal testimonies from victims' families, local residents like Four Pits, and community members. Discussion centers on truth seeking, justice, and healing. Oh, really? You mean like tell the truth about these various situations? Let's tell the truth about the various situations. Truth seeking. Like, why is it so difficult to just tell the truth about who released the video, who got it from who got it from the person before that, who got it from the person before that, and if Andy Baldwin okayed it, why did he subsequently deny it? And where's the proof? Where's the receipts that he okayed it? You got a text message, you got a phone call, you got a recording, you got an email. What you got? Diverse perspectives, organic debates with varying views rather than uniform consensus. Oh yeah, that maybe Rick Allen is truly innocent, true in all possible ways, factually innocent as well as railroaded. Maybe it's unknown whether he's factually innocent, but maybe he's only you can prove that he was absolutely wrongfully convicted. Or maybe some may think that he is involved in some way and therefore guilty in some way, but still has been railroaded by the state. Okay. In other words, a variety of perspectives allowed and debated with varying views, and also nuanced analysis rather than black and white characterizations. And I would say all things that are asserted as fact would have evidence to back it, like recordings, which I've shown to you, screenshots, which I've shown to you, emails, which I've shown to you, receipts, which I've shown to you. Nuanced analysis with receipts or evidence rather than black and white characterizations. The entire problem in the community is Adrian and Prof. Adrian and Prof. Adrian and Prof. The entire problem in this community. Adrian and Prof. I'll say Prof 35 times because Prof's the problem in the community. Organic growth of attention. Viral spread through emotional resonance or injustice rather than algorithmic manipulation. Slow build of interest as more evidence comes to light. Oh, you mean how Prof started off saying Rick Allen was probably involved, that's why he's charged, to now Prof saying there's been absolutely no evidence produced whatsoever that he is involved at all? Okay, so Prof changed. So Richard Allen is arrested. Prof says he was probably involved in some way. He probably kidnapped the girls. That's why he was charged with kidnapping, felony, murder. To now, Prof saying there's been absolutely zero evidence that he was involved produced by the state. Therefore, I have to acknowledge that there's zero convincing or compelling evidence that he is involved. Now, was he factually involved or not? Well, that hasn't been proven, so it's open to mere speculation. Collaborative investigation, citizen sleuthing, crowdsourced timelines, open source research. Oh, you mean where I participate with all the people who participate with me, and we show the receipts for every single thing we assert. Remember, when I say this happened at Wilson Bridge, I have receipts for that. When I say that I believe it involved a bunch of meth heads in a meth-involved situation, I have receipts from that. All my research is open source. I don't have confidential informants. Discussions about how the case affects broader issues like policy, mental health, or police accountability. Yes, I say that there needs to be an Allen's Law in which no state can ever do this again to another human being. You cannot put a pretrial detainee in a maximum security prison and have a true crime infatuated or obsessed, quote unquote, doctor like Monica Walla treating and medicating that patient and feeding him information from out there in the real world in a feedback loop and coercing confessions out of him. And I also said that the police should never, ever be allowed to lose 70 days of evidence and then some. And They should not be able to take the stand, and Brian Harshman should not be able to say that the voice sounds like Richard Allen, and he should not be able to assert that there's 61 confessions when there's not, and that Tony Liggett should not be able to say that what was said on the video was that be a gun, when it's absolutely clear to the public that what was said was that we go down. Respect for facts. Stronger adherence to credible sources, court documents, and verified statements. Right. I think that goes without saying. Look at my channel history. You'll see what I've presented. Less sensationalism, more discussion about evidence. Community healing and advocacy. Vigils, fundraising, and community support. Well, I don't care about this because with Delphi, it's not the same. Okay, Delphi is a complete corrupt community. So you cannot do vigils, fundraising, and community support. It's too planted out of the ass. Right? Litmus tests for infiltration versus authenticity. Okay. And you see the little brain here? It's a brain test. It's a brain bender. Let me do this. Litmus test for infiltration versus authenticity. Does the narrative evolve naturally? Or does it shift oversight? Are the loudest voices accounts with little history or anonymous? Yes, that's what I'm saying. All eyes on Delphi, anonymous. DB, anonymous. Adrian gets up here and shows her face. I get up here and show my face. Rick Snay gets up here, shows his face. Is the focus on facts of the case or creating confusion and division? Are people pushing radical ideologies using the case as a vehicle? Oh my God. Come on, chat. Come on, chat. Come on, chat. Are people pushing radical ideologies using this case as a vehicle? Excuse me. Hello. Hello. I'm going to leave this one a while. This one's important. Let's talk about social justice warriors. Okay? Are people pushing radical ideologies using this case as a vehicle? All right? So you guys want war? We got war. Let's have a war. I'll do war. I do war just as well as love, okay? Just as well as peace. Let's do our next one. I got another one. You guys want to see it in real time? Let's do it in real time. There you go. Okay, this is real time. Let's read this one. This one says, what would you expect to see in a community surrounding certain true crime cases if there were bad actors who were threatening and trying to push certain people off the case? Sorry for that. Okay, what would you expect to see if they're bad actors trying to push people off the case? If bad actors are present in a true crime case community, especially ones trying to threaten or push certain people out, you can expect the digital and interpersonal dynamics to shift in some very specific and toxic ways. Here's what you'd typically see. Okay. Signs of bad actors targeting and pushing people out. Doxing. Doxing, threats, or swarming someone's social media. Excuse me, ladies. Have you seen the swarms? Come on, Adrian. Come on, Sunflower. Come on, Diana. Have you seen the swarms? I mean, hey, Alex has been saying the term swarming for 2 fucking years. Swarming. Charles calls it hits. I think he calls it hits. Okay. So if there's bad actors, you'd expect to see targeted harassment, intimidation, doxing, threats, swarming social media. Swarming. Private messages with coercive language like you better drop this, you don't know who you're messing with. Troll farm. I've got them. I'll send them. I'll post them soon. Trust me. Stalking behavior, digital and physical. Calling employers. That's been done. Calling my police. Yeah. Okay. Next up, reputation smearing. You'd expect to see Southern. That's funny. Southern. Yeah, they jump. Oh, that's what you call it. Jumping. Yes. Sudden narratives emerge to discredit someone. They're mentally unstable. Sounds familiar? Does it sound familiar? They're a grifter. Does it sound familiar? I think you all have heard this language from Luke recently. Okay. And the Mean Girls. The use of edited screenshots, fake DMs, or claims of criminal behavior to attack credibility. I've obtained an attorney in Denver. And I've been in touch with law enforcement. They take this very seriously. Here's an important one that many of us miss. Okay, read this one for me. I'll read it for you in case you can't see the screen. Whisper campaigns in private groups or subreddits to preemptively turn others against them. Did you hear about Prof's son? Did you hear about Prof's son? Did you hear about Adrian's husband? All right, here's another one we've seen in the past. Flooding and drowning out. Flooding and drowning out. Every post or thread the individual contributes is met with hostile replies or off-topic derailing, coordinated mass reporting to get their account suspended or shadow banned. I've been the victim. Listen, Charles would know. Charles, you're a troll. You're a former troll. You're a reformed troll, Charles, in charge. Charles, question. Have you known of any coordinated mass reporting to get accounts suspended or shadow banned? And here's another one. Alt accounts, sock puppet accounts, troll accounts used to simulate widespread backlash. Oh, yeah, that's the old Tommy Frost, Mark Cohen, Jinx 13, Bossy. Those are old troll farm tactics, okay? Let's continue. This is even more important. Social engineering. Posting as friendly this is another troll farm tactic, by the way. Okay. Posting as friendly insiders to gain trust, then gaslighting or manipulating the target. Adrian knows about this. So do I. Divide and conquer tactics. That's Luke. Remember Luke going to Adrian with the emails and going to Christy with the emails? Divide and conquer. They're trying to Kathy Allen right now. Drive wedges between trusted collaborators through lies or paranoia. You know, Prof and Alex or the pulling the puppet strings behind the scenes. Making the person feel like they're the problem. Why are you being so dramatic? Why are you asking all these questions? Why are you asking all these questions? Why? How dare you ask questions of people who do weird shit? You're stirring up too much trouble. You're causing problems for Rick Allen by asking who posted the video. Silencing through fear. The community becomes quiet or cautious. Fewer people engage. Bystanders avoid associating with the targeted individual out of fear they'll be next. Yeah, you should see the inboxes I've gotten. I've had okay, I'm going to be mean for a minute. Let me pull this down for a minute. Guys, I've had so many old ladies in the community. I'm serious. It's not funny. I'm using the term because it's the term I use, and it's accurate. But listen, I've had so many of the Delphi, of some old ladies who follow my channel. Like, I'm not lying. I can show you the emails and the text messages. It's sad. I've had so many old ladies contact me afraid and say, Prof, I'm sorry. I can't be in your chat anymore. I've had some say, Prof, please take my wrench. I've had some say, Prof, please remove me from the donation website because I'm afraid. So many old ladies in the community have been frightened away into hiding because they're afraid that they'll be targeted because they're in my chat or they've donated to my channel or something. It's sad. It's sad. All right, next up. Fewer people engage. Yes, I told you my engagement was down because of this conundrum right now. For instance, right now we have 146 watching. Normally I'd have 350. 350. Bystanders avoid associating out of fear they'll be next. Important voices and independent investigators go quiet. That's my old ladies. Deactivate or publicly withdraw for their safety. Yep. It's a shame. Their research timelines or threads get deleted, ignored, or overwritten. Attempts to reframe the case in ways that minimize or erase the individual's findings. Discussion threads vanish, groups are purged, narratives are rebranded. Okay. Now here's another one. You guys will enjoy this. Let's read this. Psychological and social red flags. Sudden chilling effect. Once active community turns silent or strangely robotic. Increase groupthink. Dissent is punished. Conformity is rewarded. People disappear. High contributing users vanish without a trace or explanation. Language policing. Now here you go. Listen up. Listen up. Posts or comments get removed, not for violating rules, but for challenging certain figures or narratives. Language policing. I've said so much about that. Okay, language policing. I'll highlight that. Language policing is very real and is very concerning. All right. Tactics often used by bad actors. Lawfare. Threats of lawsuits or bogus legal claims to silence researchers or journalists. I think you've already seen that. Prof, I'll sue you for $50,000. Threats of lawsuits or legal action. Those who want to sue everybody all the time. Lawfare. Infiltration. Pretending to be part of the community to gather info, create division, or sabotage trust. Well, you know, there's so many of those in the community. I don't want to call their names right now because they're all like throw a hissy fit. But there are a bunch of these in the community, infiltrators. Okay. Mimicry. Copycat accounts that confuse identities or spread disinfo under someone's name. You've seen that. That's troll farm tactic 101. Intelligence tactics, use of sock puppets, false flags, and honeypots to entrap or discredit people. Yes, this is called what they do. Remember, Luis Cuevas. Oh, never mind. I'm not going to name names. Okay, they send you the nudes to get nudes in return. Honeypots and entrapment and discrediting. Right. Effects on the community. This all causes fear, paranoia, self-censorship, erosion of trust in legitimate figures or researchers. Shift from truth-seeking to drama, personal conflict, or disengagement. Genuine contributors leave and the space becomes hostile, performative, and dominated by false narratives. If you're seeing any of this, it's worth asking, who benefits if this person is pushed out? What were they uncovering or saying that made them a threat? How fast did the tone shift? Who led the shift? Are these tactics aimed at silencing truth or preventing harm? All right. Now I think it's time for the next one. These questions are going to increase in import. Okay. That's what I would like to say. These questions are going to become more important as we go forward with tonight's show. Okay. Next question is, what would a massive PR campaign that was trying to steer the narrative around certain crimes look like on the internet and on social media? Okay, so basically, I am asking it to define a massive PR campaign. You understand? Which is what I'm alleging. Let's be clear here. What I am alleging is that the entire Delphi community is infiltrated by a massive PR campaign and always has been. Okay? So the question now is, what would a massive PR campaign look like? Well, let's figure it out. A massive PR campaign designed, sorry about that, Jesus, to steer the narrative around certain crimes, especially when there's high profile, controversial, or reputational risk, would be a multi-layered, coordinated effort. These campaigns can be subtle or aggressive, and they often blend corporate PR tactics, political spin, and psychological manipulation. Here's what a campaign typically looks like, both overtly and covertly. Okay, this is important now. I need to get rid of this. What the hell is this? Jesus, man. Why do I have two now? Is it trying to compel me to, it's trying to force me? Oh, geez. I don't like this trying to force me to show it, but we'll have to leave it. Goals of a campaign, of a PR campaign around a crime. Okay, so the goals would be to protect powerful institutions or individuals, control the official narrative, discredit whistleblowers, survivors, or independent investigators, shape public opinion through framing, repetition, and distraction. Shape public opinion, once more. shape public opinion through framing, which means we're only allowed to talk within this certain framework. And that's what Michael Osbrook and the Mean Girls have always done. Okay. Repetition and distraction. Prevent reputational or financial fallout. Oh, that's an interesting term there. Okay. Online social media characteristics. Narrative flooding and framing. Immediate high volume content. Establishing the story. Here's what happened with emotionally loaded language. Now, listen, now we're getting into, I like to zoom out a bit and talk about the entire Delphi narrative going back to 2017. Here's what we're talking about. The entire narrative going back to 2017. Okay, so let's think. I need you to really critically think. Bring yourself back to the very beginning. And I am absolutely certain on this. I am absolutely certain on this. All the way back to 2017, the day those girls' bodies were found, and even maybe the day before, from the very first media till today, let's think about it. Immediate high volume content establishing the story. Here's what happened with emotionally loaded language. Boy, that sums up the Delphi murders narrative in total, right? In total. Remember, two innocent little girls going out on a hike, right? On a unseasonably warm day. And there's a bridge guy. He's the monster. You see? And you had Gray Hughes was a major part of this. Gray Hughes was the number one avenue for this narrative getting established in the public's minds. Okay. And then the rest of the troll farm creators, all of them, Fig, Solves, Sleuth Intuition, all of them. The story. And remember, even Nick McClellan did this for the jury. Everything that happened for the jury was like a condensed mini version of the 7 years of it playing out on social media. Okay? But I want you to think about the way Nick McClellan told this story and how he condensed it and framed it for the jury, and think of how eerily similar it was to Gray Hughes' story that he spun for 7 years. Okay? Immediate high volume content, establishing the story. Here's what happened with emotionally charged language. The dominance of prepackaged talking points. It's Delphi murders. Across news outlets. Remember, across the news outlets is all the same. Across the post, across the social media. Crisis communication style framing. Focus on individual bad apples, tragic accidents, misunderstanding, coordinated messaging, similar phrases or hashtags repeated across accounts and media outlets. We stand with X. Justice for Rick Allen, right? Justice for Abby and Libby. Snapchat murders, right? Influencers, journalists, verified accounts post synchronized on-brand content. This has been synchronized on-brand content for 7 fucking years. And let's be clear, the Mean Girls are no different, okay? The Mean Girl, let me ask you this. When have you heard the Mean Girls say this is a group murder that had sacrificial elements that was potentially tied to the cartels and the drug world? Huh? Or is the Mean Girls narrative eerily similar to Nick McClellan's narrative and Gray Hughes? just replacing Rick Allen with any other unknown individual. You see, we want to double down. Let's double down on the truth then. That's why I'm here. Okay? Since we want to play stupid games, we'll win stupid prizes. Influencers, journalists, Andy Kopsa, murder sheet. Verified accounts, verified accounts, verified accounts, verified accounts. Suddenly post synchronized on-brand content. Question. When this video was released by the Mean Girls, what exactly happened? Okay, first of all, let's be clear. They knew it was going to be released in advance because this was an intentional synchronization. This was planned to happen like a switch, right? It was a switch that was going to be triggered. And what was going to trigger the switch is when my case posted that the case had been turned over to appeals. So on March 12th, what you saw happen is you saw the post was made on my case that that the appeal had been initiated. Okay, then immediately Andy Kopsa goes live with Osbrook and Weineke because they were behind it. Okay, then immediately after, Angela goes live with Luke and DB in the chat, policing the concepts that this is not the enhanced version. This is the original from the victim's phone, right? And then she goes for an hour and a few minutes, and then immediately sends everyone over to Teresa's chat, where Teresa runs with the ball. So you see how it's like clockwork? It's like synchronized. It was all a synchronized rollout of this Bridge Guy video on this website, but they all pretended to not have any hand in it. But we've seen this for 7 years. Journalists, quote unquote, verified accounts, quote unquote. Like I said, they had basically terraformed Twitter. Let's be clear here. The Mean Girls had terraformed Twitter to be the place where they can control the public narrative. And the troll farm had terraformed YouTube to be the place where they could control the narrative. And there was additional in the previous generation, 5, 6, and 7 years ago, the first generation terraformed Reddit to be the place where they would control, and the Facebook groups around the Delphi murders. So you see, when you look back in the days and you see that in the early days, it was Reddit and Facebook was completely controlled. Okay. And then in the next phase, it was YouTube and Twitter. Is it making sense now? Brand or institutional statements release just before or after major evidence drops to redirect attention. Listen to this. Let's break this down so everyone understands it. Okay. You don't need to see me. Here we go. Brand or institutional. So let's erase that and let's replace that with law enforcement, because we know we're dealing with law enforcement shills. Okay. Okay. All right. Listen. Let's replace this with law enforcement. So official statements. So we're going to replace that with law enforcement and the family. Statements on behalf of law enforcement and family, law enforcement and family, law enforcement and family, law enforcement and family are released adjacent to major evidence drops to redirect attention. All right, let's continue. Strategic promotion of specific keywords or phrases to dominate search results. Oh, they've tried that. They've tried that. But guess what? Two can play at that game. I've been playing at that game too. Hashtag hijacking. Justice for Abby and Libby. Right? Justice for Abby and Libby is one of them. Hijacking popular tags. Okay, I've been playing. Here's the thing. Two can play at these games, right? Keywords and hashtags. Okay. And again, back into troll amplification, boosting certain narratives using trolls, troll accounts. Crisis actors and sock puppets. Fake or burner accounts posing as victims, eyewitnesses, or concerned citizens. Well, that's what I'm saying about the jurors, right? As far as the jurors go, this is a huge concern here. Let's replace any of these terms with jurors. Jurors. Posing as jurors, sharing emotionally charged but inconsistent, unverified stories. Helpful accounts, Delphi docs. Delphi docs. Guiding people towards sanitized Delphi docs or misleading summaries, Delphi docs. Away from original evidence, Delphi docs. Okay, you guys want a war? We'll war with Delphi docs and I'll win. Okay. Sanitized or misleading, Delphi docs. What's the number one rule on Delphi docs? Can't question the family. Can't imply any involvement of the family. Ask any questions of that. Delphi docs is no different than Troll Farm. You see? Sock puppets defending the accused or attacking critics aggressively but with oddly polished messaging. Well, here's the thing. This is not about accused. Okay? Oddly polished messaging is a thing here. Oddly polished messaging. I want you to think about a certain channel with oddly polished messaging. Am I right, Adrian? Am I wrong? Okay. Astroturfing and controlled grassroots. Fake grassroots campaigns. Rallies, petitions, and fundraisers. Oh my effing God, dude. Can we say Mean Girls any clearer than this? Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. Hey, not only that, let's talk about Randy Gravitz walks. I hate to do it, but let's tell the truth and the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Randy Gravitz walks. Let's talk about the Flora walks. Let's talk about the Delphi and the Flora walks. The Delphi and the Flora walks, huh? Can we talk real talk? We're going to talk real talk here. Can we talk about the bike rides? Bike rides? Abby and Libby rides? Can we talk about the Abby and Libby rides and the Delphi Randy Gravitz walks and the Flora walks? And can we talk real talk? Or are we going to talk fantasy world? I mean, we're talking real talk walks, right? You see, guys, the thing is, you got to understand this. I'm fighting all of them, right? When I said I'm coming to burn it down and I'm a disruptor, I meant I'm coming to burn this entire fucking thing down. Prosecution side, defense side, uniparty. They don't like us saying that word, by the way. They don't like us saying uniparty. I'm here to burn down uniparty. Okay? Uniparty appears organic, but are funded and coordinated by powerful interests. I'm talking about the bike rides. I'm talking about the Delphi walks. Okay, I'm talking about the protest. Supposed community voices are used to discredit survivors or suggest everyone locally knows this isn't true. That's interesting, isn't it? Everyone local. What do I say? I say everyone local knows the truth and is lying about it. Yeah, all the locals are covering up for the killers of the Delphi murder victims. Clip that shit, bitch. All right, now here's another one. Strategic release of exclusive interviews. You guys need to listen up now. I'm not bullshitting on this one either. Remember, these are all your signs of narrative control. Remember, the initial question, let me say it again. What would a massive, okay, I use that word intentionally. What would a massive PR campaign that was trying to steer the narrative around certain crimes look like on the internet and social media? This is what a massive PR campaign would look like. Strategic release of exclusive interviews. Can you say the CW? Leaked footage. Can you say the BG video? Or corrective articles. Can you say Andy Kopsa? To overwrite earlier narratives. Ooh, that's rough. That's rough, isn't it? That medicine hurts, huh? That's some bitter pills, right? Because we want to talk real. You know, you guys want to escalate? Let's escalate. We'll escalate into the truth domain. All right? Truth domain. You wanted it, you got it. Headlines that minimize blame. Mistakes were made. So Angela got it, period. And Andy Baldwin released a video, so Angela got it, period. Questions remain. Oh, we're not going to answer the questions that Prof is asking. We've answered his questions, but we haven't answered a single question. But we're going to say Luke released the video and Andy Baldwin okayed it. That's answering the question. Mistakes were made, but we're not going to say what they were. Questions remain, and we're not going to answer them. When the facts are clear, yeah, that burns, right? That burns. Softening language around perpetrators. Troubled, misunderstood, pillar of the community. Oof. I'm not even going to say a thing about the rose-colored glasses in the Rick Allen website. Okay, here we go. More truth bombs. Remember, the question here is, what would a massive PR campaign that was trying to steer the narrative around certain crimes look like on the internet? And here's one of the ways that it would look like. Character assassination, smear campaigns, leaking irrelevant or embarrassing personal info to undermine credibility. Oh, Prof's son was arrested. Let me show you guys. Right? Legal threats, lawfare. I'm going to sue you. I'm going to sue you. Cease and desist letters. Oh, don't say it again or I'll sue you. Oh my God. Platform manipulation. Mass reporting to deplatform dissenting voices. Well, you've seen that. Hey, let's be real here. I'll tell you guys a thing right now. I find it interesting, okay? I could share the screen. It's not worth it. Listen, just take my word for it. If you go back in time, okay, let me go back in time. I'll do it this way. Okay, if I go to my content, okay, if I go to my YouTube studio, this is how I do it. I go to YouTube Studio. Sorry, my shit's lagging here. But I go to YouTube Studio, I go to my live streams, and then I look at all of the numbers of likes versus dislikes, okay? So typically, I get 97, 98% likes, okay? Which means when everyone comes in and hits thumbs up or thumbs down, right? Typically, I get 98%, 97% likes. That's my average, going back at least a year. So if I go back a year and I look at 250 live streams, almost all of them are 98%, 97% likes. Well, guess what? In the past 2 weeks, what do you think the percentage is? Because of the brigading. Yeah, in the past 2 weeks, it's been 93, 94% likes. And what that tells you is that these people are coming in to manipulate the platform in the algorithm, and they're hitting the thumbs down as a group, which tells me that what happens is in the Discord, they say, everybody, Prof just did a live, go hit the thumbs down. So all of the Discord comes in and they hit the thumbs down. So they bring me down from my average of 98% down to 94% because it's only 60 of them. You see? And what else they do is they come in and they false report. So if I say, oh, she's a bitch, they'll come in and they'll false report inappropriate language or whatever over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And so, like, I know a lot of them, they'll have 20 fake accounts. So what they'll do, they'll come in through every fake account and they'll hit report, 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 because they're trying to get the algorithm manipulated. And anyway, this is what this is saying. This is what happens, okay? Mass reporting to dissenting voices. That means me. Getting shadow bans placed on accounts that question the dominant narrative. This is why I've been fighting this ever since I came on YouTube. Because Troll Farm was the first, because their rule is you cannot talk about the Patty family. Okay, you cannot talk about the Patty family. Okay, signs it's a PR campaign, not organic. Let's continue. Signs it's a PR campaign. The narrative appears fully formed within hours with professional polish. Yeah, remember how I said when that video dropped, within hours, you had 3 live streams. Andy Kopsa, Angela, and Teresa. Back to back. Boom, boom, boom. Knocked out. Completely coordinated. And everyone pretending they didn't know what the hell was going on. Right? Uniformity. Dozens of people saying the same thing with little variation. Yeah, cranks. It's the cranks. It's the cranks. The cranks are on message all the time. It's a coinkydink. Lack of nuance. Clear heroes and villains. No ambiguity allowed. Right. You cannot say, hey, maybe Richard Allen was involved, but there's no proof of it. You know, if anyone wants to know my stance, that is absolutely my stance. My stance is I don't know. I wasn't there that day. Maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. I don't know. I just know that the court did not produce any evidence whatsoever that he was involved, which would lead me to say that he was wrongfully convicted. So I'm absolutely confident in saying Richard Allen was absolutely wrongfully convicted because there was a lack of evidence and he was tortured and abused in a maximum security facility as a pretrial detainee, kept in solitary for fucking over a year when he should never have been. Therefore, there's a need for an Allen's Law. What the hell? But that's called a nuanced statement because I'm admitting that possibly he was involved. We just don't have evidence. Okay, how the fuck would I know if he was involved or not? The only persons, as I've said so many times, the only persons who would know if Rick Allen was involved in these murders or not is Rick Allen, Abby and Libby, and whoever else or whoever killed the girls. It's the only people who would factually know who was involved were those involved. And Rick himself. All right, let's continue. But anyway, clear heroes and villains. Yeah, daddy, mommy, daddy. Absence of grassroots messiness. Well, that's what we are. Hello. Newsflash. Newsflash, all viewers to the channel. And anyone who wants to clip this bitch. We're messy over here because it's grassroots, okay? Life is messy, so are we, okay? It's not all polished and it's not all fake, okay? We're not planted out of the ass over here. Hello. All right. Absence of grassroots messiness. Real communities are chaotic and emotional. Hey, Adrian and Prof, not tidy or in total agreement. Deflection of evidence. Focus shifts away from facts and towards sentiment or distraction. Okay. Real world examples. Okay. Now, here are some examples. Let's do hypothetical now. Adrian's laughing. Yeah. And is Avon Town laughing? And is Rebecca Ann? Okay. As long as you guys are all in agreement. Okay. Here are some examples of some PR planted out of the ass scenarios. All right. A dirty university scandal. where PR teams downplayed the systemic abuse and shifted the blame toward a few staffers, flooding media with stories about institutional reform. Okay. A corporate crime where social media influencers were paid. Oh, that never happens, Prof. Trolls are never paid to promote unrelated positive news about the brand during the trial. Ooh, that's rich. That makes me think of the family. That makes me think of the family. Okay, how about some more examples? How about a high-profile celebrity crime where victims' stories were buried under waves of brand-aligned influence videos, TikTok trends, and pseudo-psychological defenses? Hey, you guys are going to have to double up on your PR campaign if you're going to beat me at this game. I'm just letting you know right now. There are people in this chat who are not buying your bullshit anymore. If you're analyzing a specific case, says ChatGPT, and want to trace signs of this kind of manipulation, I can help dig deeper, says ChatGPT, like mapping coordinated messaging patterns. Hey, this is a task for you, Adrian. Mapping coordinated messaging patterns. Identifying likely bot or troll behavior, troll account or fake account or alt account behavior. Surfacing independent voices that are being buried. Would you like to go in that direction? Hey, let's ask it to do that. Let's ask it to do that. Let me see. I'll say, how do I say yes? Let's say yes. Yes. Great. Okay. That was easy. Okay. That's great. That was easy. Okay. It says, okay, let's dive in. Oh my God. I think I just finessed ChatGPT. I said yes. Okay. All right. I'll say. It says, to help you analyze whether a massive PR campaign is shaping a true crime narrative, I can guide you through a methodical breakdown. If you already have a specific case or community in mind, I can tailor the approach. But first, here's a generalized investigation framework we can apply. Step 1, identify the narrative being pushed. Ask, what storyline is being amplified consistently? Who is being protected or humanized? Who is being minimized, attacked, or ignored? Look for repetition of emotionally resonant but fact lacking language. Efforts to divert attention from the crime. Think of the families. Oh my God! Did it just say that? Think of the families. Yeah, this isn't who we are. Oh my God, I think I just blew a gasket. Okay, analyze the messengers. Type of actor. Influencers. What to look for. Sudden posts with similar language or timing. Crisis PR tone. Anonymous or new accounts. Recently created. Hyper focus on defending single side. Posting 24/7. Okay, sorry. Whew. Headline framing. Oops. In the mainstream media. Burying key facts. Quoting only one side. I think I just blew a gasket. I got happy. Community gatekeepers. Oh, this is rough. Delphi. Reddit mods. Delphi docs. Facebook group admins. Kimberly Stravarkis Withers. Sarah Elrod Osbrook. Subreddit post. Shut down dissent and evidence sharing. Do not, and number one rule, do not question the family. Okay, sorry. I know I'm being annoying with the clapping in the mic, but you guys got to know this is blowing the mind as we speak. Even Charles says AI is a snitch. Yeah, AI is currently revealing the troll farm tactics in its entirety. Okay, trace coordination patterns. Use advanced Twitter searches to track phrases across multiple accounts in a short time frame. Okay. Plug in usernames to access bot-like behavior. Map out post timing. Remember, this is all tasks for Adrian. I'm giving her a task now since she's my minion. She's actually my best helper in that she actually does interesting things. Okay, so let's see. Map out post timing or stories and posts dropping immediately before damaging revelations to flood them out. Oh, that is so true. We've seen that before. Okay, use Wayback Machine to see if pages or articles were quietly edited or removed. Watch for suppression and harassment tactics. Look for these signs of information suppression or intimidation. Content creators or investigators posting that they were threatened, silenced, or deplatformed. Comment threads mysteriously disappearing after getting locked as traction increases. Survivors or whistleblowers being targeted with personal attacks. Conspiracy accusations. Conspiracy. Okay. Subreddits, Discords, Facebook groups getting taken over by new mods who shift tone. Surface the independent voices. Find out what's being buried. Seek long-term analysis, YouTube breakdowns, independent journalist pieces, Substacks. Search for original court documents. Boom. That's what have you seen on this? Police reports. What have you seen on here? FOIA filings. What have you seen on here? Use decentralized platforms where gatekeeping is harder. Check for whistleblower or survivor content. Using lesser known hashtags. Share the name of the case, links to specific social media, any patterns of suspicious behavior you've already noticed. So you see what it's saying? It's basically saying that we should all be posting the evidence of these things. So it's saying, share this shit. Okay, share this shit is what it's saying, which is exactly what we're doing. We're beginning to head down this path. And trust me, after Rick Snae's show tonight, we will be firmly heading in this direction from here on out. So you guys fuck yourselves. You have fucked yourselves. Pardon the language. Map out messaging timelines. Okay, messaging timelines is important. Coordinated actors are important. PR language versus authentic community voices is important. Uncover suppressed or derailed discussions. Yeah, like who or what is the chain of custody for this video posted on the Rick Allen website? Okay, how about this? Let's feed it. Specific case. Let's ask it, what about the Delphi? Well, this should be interesting. All right. Let's wait for the analysis here. Several indicators suggest the narrative surrounding the Delphi murders itself has been influenced by various actors. Okay. The introduction of the Odinist white supremacist meth head satanic occult theory, the cult, despite being dismissed, indicates an attempt to shift the narrative, introduce doubt. The release of BG video shows how this evidence can be used to steer public attention and disclosure. The actions of Allen's defense team Suggests a strategy to influence narrative and public opinion. Okay, yeah, I'm not interested in that. That's trying to draw some conclusion from the mainstream media. But let's continue here with my next question. Let's shift gears to my next question. Since we're at war, let's war. Okay. This is a somewhat of a same rephrasing of a prior question, but I thought to get it to answer more thoroughly, I would ask it in this way. Could you give a comprehensive description of what the warning signs would be of bad actors on the internet trying to control the narrative around current or cold homicide cases? Absolutely. When bad actors, whether individuals, PR teams, ideologically motivated groups, mean girls, or state-affiliated entities try to control or distort the narrative around a current or cold homicide case, they tend to use coordinated tactics that can be identified if you know what to look for. Here's a comprehensive breakdown of warning signs across several dimensions: behavioral, structural, linguistic, and community levels. Okay. Comprehensive warning signs of narrative control by bad actors. I'll give you all a minute. All right. Behavioral patterns, okay, also known as user level red flags. Now listen, guys, this is going to be a tough discussion. Here's a question. Are you ready to finally put to rest the question about what's going on here in this community? Because I think we've been trying to argue or debate this assertion far too long. Listen, I remember 2 years ago when I was telling you that not only was the troll farm a thing, I said the troll farm exists, and I said the Delphi Murders troll farm works on behalf of the family and law enforcement. I also said that the troll farm number one objective is to run us off the platform and possibly have us unalive ourselves. No one believed me. There were people the first round of dismissiveness was to say, Prof, you're getting involved in drama. Don't do the drama. Okay, then the next wave said, the troll farm doesn't exist. Then the next wave said, no, the troll farm just exists, but we're just friends trying to have fun on the internet. Then the next wave said, yes, the troll farm exists and we haven't always been too nice, but we don't work for law enforcement or the family. The next one said, sure, you've posted receipts that we want you to unalive yourselves, but we don't really want you to unalive ourselves. It's just what we say in our messages to each other. And then I said, they were literally planning on coming to do me physical harm and my child. And everyone said, no, they're really not. They're good people. They just talk shit on the internet. That's what trolls do. Well, here's the thing. I was not wrong about any of it, and you'll soon be learning the truth about all of it. All right, so here we go. Behavioral patterns. User level red flags. Okay, so in other words, what would you expect to see? Remember, the question that I asked, let me read it again. Could you give a comprehensive description of what the warning signs would be of bad actors on the internet trying to control the narrative around current or cold homicide cases. Again, warning signs of bad actors trying to control the narrative. Here are the warning signs. Sock puppetry, which means troll accounts, troll accounts. Remember, these are the red flags or warning signs. Multiple troll accounts pushing the same narrative, often created recently or using low effort profiles. Troll farm. Troll accounts. Flood posting. Sudden surges in posts, comments, or threads repeating a specific message or trying to drown out conflicting views. Pattern engagement. Same group of users always liking, replying to, or reinforcing one another's messages, often within seconds. That's called troll farm. That's called troll farm. If you haven't recognized that, trust me, I'm going to do whole live streams describing this to you. And with receipts, by the way, remember, y'all may have forgotten, I have 2 fucking years of receipts of all of this. I will be the one who writes the book on the Delphi case in terms of this. Okay, targeted harassment, doxing, smear campaigns, or mob-style pile-ons. That's what Charles calls jumping, or what Alex calls swarming, or what I call attacking. Okay, or troll attacks. Okay, doxing, smear campaigns, or mob-style pile-ons directed at investigators, survivors, or dissenting voices. That's troll farm. Platform hopping. Now, this is interesting too. Coordinated actors moving from Twitter to Reddit to YouTube comments, maintaining the same narrative. This is the Mean Girls. Okay, troll farm doesn't do this, but Mean Girls do this. They go from Twitter to Reddit to YouTube, and you'll see it tonight. Okay, actually, let me stop now. Let me show you a little right now. Okay, let's do a little side project real quick. I'll show some to you right now. Show you how this goes. Okay. So this was earlier today. This was some of the gaslighting about the copyright claim from Gray Media. All right. So this was supposed to be a big old deal, right? Earlier today. But notice, this is Twitter. Okay. Now watch this. This will be interesting. This was such a big deal. And notice all the mocking from the similar, these are all the troll accounts. Okay. Jenna, who gave the video to the website? And then mocks Adrian. Yes, it's important. Am I the only one who sees it? What? Troll. Is this AI? No one ever said it was AI, dumbass. There should be an apology. For what? Kate O'Hare. For what? Okay. Phoenix. Imagine that. For what? Odd structure. For what? You see, we'll get back to this later, but then notice. Oh, YouTube. Oh, really? YouTube. Really? YouTube. And we'll get back to this later. But then I want to show you this. YouTube, right? Oh, another YouTuber. All Eyes. She goes and piggybacks. So you noticing? Okay. So what you got here, you got one thing, right? So you got Twitter. Okay, Twitter. And then you got reposted on YouTube. YouTube. Okay. And then, of course, simping on YouTube to reinforce the message. Okay, coordinated moves across platforms. Okay. Tactical indicators of narrative manipulation. Boy, this should be interesting. This should be interesting. Astroturfing. Fake grassroots support created by PR firms or coordinated groups. Mass upvotes, mass downvotes, mass reporting, mass upvotes, mass comments in a thing. You know, like here's how you'll see it. Okay, let me describe quickly how you'll see it. This is how you'll see it in the comment sections of YouTube. And I'm about to educate all of you really quickly. This should be all of you YouTube creators or commenters, pay attention to this. When you go into the comment section on any YouTube post or video, okay, when you're, let me just educate you in this way. When you're in the comment section, okay, this is super important to be hip to this. When you're in the comment section in a YouTube, you know, you're able to see the number of likes on any particular comment, right? So if you go on any old comment section, you're going to see how many likes every comment gets. And what you want to look for is you want to look for something somewhere that's out of place. So in other words, look on Prof's channel where you would expect primarily Prof's viewers, Prof's friends, Prof's fans would be commenting, right? So you go in there and you read the comments and you'll see, say, everybody has like 4 to 6 thumbs ups, right? So you're reading. So let's say you're reading the comment section under a Prof video or community post, and you see everybody in there that's nice and getting along, saying nice things. They all have like 6 or 4 or 5 thumbs ups. You're like, oh, okay, there's like 4 to 6 people who've read this and hit the thumbs up. And then you'll see one asshole motherfucker coming in to gaslight. So you'll see one really mean comment, and it's by like one of the mean girls or the troll farm or somebody. And then you'll see 15 likes. Okay? Again, okay? Let's say it again. It's very important to understand this. You go in the comment section of any video or any community post on the Prof's channel, and you see everybody has 4 or 5 or 6 thumbs ups. Everybody. Adrian has 4 or 5. Zaddy has 4 or 5. Lisa has 4 or 5. J Rabbit has 4 or 5. Everybody has 4 or 5 thumbs ups. And then there'll be this other fucking account, Passenger 33, yelling, screaming, gaslighting, being a mean fucking bitch. 15 thumbs ups. Surely you've seen that before, right? Surely you've seen that before. Okay, that's exactly what this is describing here. Okay, so surely you've seen it before. If you haven't seen it before, pay attention in the future. It's very important to notice, because that's what they do. Basically what they do, they'll come in to argue or to gaslight, and they'll have everybody from the Discord come in and hit the thumbs up just on theirs. So like I'm saying, everybody else will have 4 or 5 or 6 thumbs ups, and the one fucking asshole will have 15 or 20, because everyone from the Discord flooded in just to hit the thumbs up on that. Once they posted it, they went tell the Discord to do that. And what we call that here with ChatGPT is calling it, or ChatGPT is calling it it's calling it astroturfing. Okay, mass upvotes or mass thumbs ups on the comment. And this literally happens all the time. For 2 years, I've been watching it in amazement. Okay. Attempt to isolate, echo chamber engineering, attempting to isolate the conversation into controlled communities with rigid moderation rules that suppress dissent. This is called Delphi Docs 101. Okay, Delphi Docs 101. Okay, Delphi Docs 101. You go to Delphi Docs, you ain't talking about the Patty family at all, or Daniel Pearson. Disinfo laundering, planting fake or misleading info to obscure sources, referencing independent evidence, case by case. Okay, again, hashtag hijacking, using real hashtags to insert distracting, misleading, defamatory comment. Justice for Abby Libby. Search engine optimization techniques, or link spam used to bury key evidence. Okay, now here's some more. Linguistic red flags. We should be looking for repetitive phrasing, same terminology or slogans used across unrelated accounts. Move on. There's no there. Case closed. Period. All the things, conspiracy theorists. When you see all the accounts, like for instance, they go after Adrian, they say crazy. When you see they constantly go after Adrian and they say crazy, okay, it's repetitive phrasing. It's a linguistic red flag. When you see crazy next to Adrian, that's what it is. When you see conspiracy theorists next to me and Adrian or Alex, that's what it is. Okay. Oh, here's another one. Family basher. They'll often use, the old troll farm used to love to use the term family basher. Okay. What else? Aggressive certainty, overconfident dismissal of alternative theories or evidence. You're just crazy. That's debunked. That's a conspiracy. Fig solves, inquisitor, right? Fig solves, mean girls, troll farm. You see? Also, emotional manipulation of weaponizing victim sympathy. Don't dishonor them by speculating, family bashing, dishonoring the victims. They do it to Snay. They do it to me. They do it to all of you in the chat. You're not allowed to ask questions of the family because that is somehow attacking the victims. Okay, when we say, no, in every fucking child homicide, the question is the family is the first and foremost looked at and questioned. You're hurting the family. Remember, Nick McClelland even said this about the release of this video, that the release of the Bridge Guy video is victimizing the family. When the actual truth should be, no, it's honoring the victims by showing the truth of what happened. Just like the posting of the crime scene photos. It's honoring the victims by showing the truth of the crime scene. But no. That's re-victimizing the family and disrespecting the victims. All right. Straw man attacks, another thing you'll always see. You'll always see this. Misrepresenting reasonable questions as wild conspiracy theories to discredit them. You saw that with Luke today on Rick Snake's channel. He said, the proof said that I created the video on behalf of Lafayette PD with AI. No, not what I said. Not what I said. He also said, what was it, Adrian? He also said something to the effect of, Adrian said, Angela set up Rick Allen for the state, or what? Come on, Adrian. Yeah, I don't know. Angela framed Rick Allen. Really? That's called a straw man attack, motherfucker. Okay, that's called a straw man attack because, there you go. Thank you, Adrian. Because look, no, I never said that you created a video with AI on behalf of law enforcement. Never said that. That's called a straw man. You're trying to make me look crazy. Saying Ange framed Rick. He's trying to make Adrian look crazy because you're making crazy statements and attributing them to us, statements that we never literally made. And we at least have we have a modicum of respect or minimum level of respect that we will at least go get the actual fucking quotes that you guys say, and we'll put quotation marks around them and copy paste, and we'll put them on the screen to prove what you said specifically without generalizing or drawing these wild, doing these wild assumptions about what you said. Okay, so we've shown enough respect that we will accurately quote you, because then it's not a straw man attack. When we accurately quote you and then we come in and we criticize that quotation extremely specifically, that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. Okay? But what you should do is the same. You should accurately quote us using quotations and then attack that argument. Don't misquote us and then conflate the argument and then attack that, because that's a straw man attack, which is a logical fallacy, which is all you've done. Like you did it several times today. All right. But that's called a straw man attack, misrepresenting reasonable questions, which are what we have asked. Okay, we have asked entirely reasonable questions, but you've reframed them and misrepresented them as wild conspiracy theories to try to discredit them. And that's a straw man. And remember, the question that I asked ChatGPT is signs of bad actors trying to control the narrative. Well, dude, you're falling right into it. Over intellectualizing or muddying straightforward facts to confuse the readers, that's called fake nuance. You've also done that because we've asked, listen, if you go in that Rick Snay Live, I asked a very specific series of simple, direct questions. I find it odd that 2.5 months later, not one of those simple, straightforward, direct questions have been answered. For instance, who is somebody who knows? What do you mean, Prof? Okay, let's pull this one up. I have something else for you. Oh, is it not up yet? No, I'll have to read it. Okay. Who is somebody who knows? Remember Sleuthy made this statement that went like this? I forgot to get this ready for the I'll have to get it up on screen. Sleuthy said, so somebody who knows was like, motherfucker, you better not, because I will like out you, because that would be absolutely borderline, if not borderline, like crossing the line into unethical behavior. That's someone who is intimidating or threatening or pressuring or blackmailing Andy Baldwin to not release a press release. So I asked the question, who is somebody who knows? Who said, motherfucker, you better not, because I will like out you, to Andy Baldwin? Question remains unanswered, isn't it? Doesn't it? That question remains unanswered. Who intimidated Andy Baldwin into not releasing a press release saying, I didn't release the video, I don't condone its release, and there won't be any more evidence being released in the future? But see, you guys did a fake nuance move. Back to this. Okay, let's get back to this. I don't want to get too distracted. You did a fake nuance move. You over intellectualized and muddied the straightforward fucking questions. All right. Structural signs. Community and platform level. Thread locking or deletion. Mods or admins suddenly remove or freeze active discussions without clear explanation. Well, you see a lot of it on Reddit Okay, you know where I've seen a lot of that? On Reddit. Okay, Reddit, the Reddit mods will very often pull this move right here. Okay, remember when Michael Osbrook went in to attack a friend of Rick and Kathy Allen? Went into Reddit, and Michael Osbrook doxed the lady's state and profession to intimidate her into silence. He also told her to go away and shut up or whatever many, many times. Okay. Now, I remember sharing that with you all at some point. All right. Account purges or bans. Longtime contributors silenced after challenging the narrative. Reputation flipping. Credible accounts suddenly disavowed or turned into villains in the community after asking the wrong questions. Yeah, it was all good. Remember? The prof was all good. The prof was all good until he asked the tough questions of the defense folks. Hey, let's be honest here. They loved me when I was beating up Fig Sauls. They loved me when I was beating up Tilbor. They loved me when I was beating up Murder Sheet. They loved me when I was beating up Nick McClellan, right? And by loved, I don't mean let me in their inner groups and don't mean support me, but they tolerated me. Oh, but the minute I asked them the tough questions of them, oh, they lost their shit. They've been throwing a tantrum for 2.5 months. Okay. Platform silence, disproportionate media. Okay, let's get on to this. PSYOPs and info warfare tactics, advanced manipulation. This should be interesting. This should really be interesting. I hope you guys are coming along for the ride. I know this is a tedious jaunt through the ChatGPT universe, but trust me, we need to know these things. We need to know these things. Now, please, y'all, I love my viewers so much, but please pay attention here. Okay. No, that's too big. Okay, I'll minimize it. Okay. Please pay attention here. This says fake leaks are evidence. Okay, hold on. I got to do something real quick. Take care of something real quick. Oh man, this is not the easiest thing to do. Hold on. Okay. Fake leaks or evidence. Now let's please pay attention because this one's difficult. This says PSYOPs and info warfare tactics, advanced manipulation. Okay. PSYOPs, info warfare, advanced manipulation. Fake leaks or evidence intentionally planted to later be debunked, making the entire case look like misinformation. Is this what we're dealing with? I mean, this should burn. This should burn. This should burn right now, bro. Fake leaks or evidence intentionally planted, later to be debunked, and making the entire case look like misinformation? Wow. Bad actors join online communities pretending to be allies, then sow division or sabotage. Oh, sounds like CJ, right? Sounds like Dan and CJ, right? Controlled opposition. Ooh, rough. This is rough. This is rough. Apparent critics or whistleblowers who subtly steer the conversation away from the most damning evidence. Oh my God. Do you mean Kelsey? Away from Kelsey's conflicting statements? Do you mean from the family's conflicting statements? Do you mean from the timeline that doesn't work? Where are all the family's phone dumps? What about the timeline? Remember how Osbrook would not allow that maybe those girls weren't there that day? Question, y'all. Question. Since we want to have warfare, let's have warfare. Subtly steering the conversation away from the most damning evidence. Were the girls even there that day? Because that was one of the things that Osbrook could not tolerate being discussed. Oh, also, there's no fake pictures, no fake videos, no fake Snapchats, no fake witnesses of the girls. Ooh. I mean, listen, Osbrook, this is where you and I parted ways. This is when you started to try to discredit me publicly. I'm not sorry. Disinformation planted early in the case, designed to confuse or collapse narratives later during legal proceedings. Well, that's all we've seen. That's all we've seen. I mean, I've told you that when I started my channel, actually, in those first 100 live streams that I've deleted or made private, I spoke all the time about that the entire case was disinformation planted early on. And that's what I blame the old cunts, old hags of Delphi for. Remember how I say there's the old hags of Delphi who have controlled the case from day one? The old hags of Delphi? What they were disinformation agents. They helped spread, disseminate, control, and gatekeep the disinformation and plant it early in the case. And they did it in 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 21, 22, 23, 24, and even now in 25, they're still doing it. The old hags of Delphi. It's disinformation that's designed to confuse and collapse narratives. Keep you confused. Practical questions to ask. Who benefits? Is the narrative consistent with available evidence? Yeah, that's a big question, right? Is this Delphi murders narrative of the lone wolf bridge guy killer? Is it consistent, or is it speculation? Are the girls being out there consistent with evidence, or is it speculation? We're not talking about evidence that was introduced by the prosecutor. We're talking about actual proof. What's the last proof of life of these girls? Are dissenters being debated or silenced, attacked, and erased? Oh, let's talk about YouTube for a minute before we move any further. Question for you. How many YouTubers who were dissenters, how many have been run off the case? Totally. Totally. Where's Robert Lindsay? And was he a pedophile? Where's Julia? Where's Rod Holt? Where's Clutch? Were they ever authentically debated? Or were they silenced, attacked, and erased? That's a tough question, isn't it? That's a tough question. I mean, why do you think they're calling me a child rapist? Now, silenced, attacked, erased? Are dissenters being debated or silenced, attacked, and erased? Is new evidence welcomed or immediately discredited? Is this conversation happening across diverse spaces or confined to echo chambers? What to do if you suspect narrative manipulation? Archive everything. Guilty. When I say everything has been documented, I have 50,000 screenshots and 8,000 videos in 2 years. Archive everything, always. Map the message spread. Note which accounts or outlets repeat identical language and stories. Contrast the narratives. Compare mainstream, independent, and direct source materials, court docs. Stay in independent spaces. Smaller forums, newsletters, FOIA document repositories are less likely to be infiltrated. Employ open source intelligence, okay, to analyze behaviors. Okay, so let's continue. I have another question. Trust me, I got more. Let's go for another one, ChatGPT me. If there was a massive PR campaign controlling the online narrative of an unsolved double homicide, including controlled opposition, what would you expect to see in terms of direct evidence? Direct. So I'm asking, if there's a massive campaign that includes controlled opposition, what would you see in terms of direct evidence? Now, here's the thing where all of you who fancy yourselves sleuths, ask yourself these questions, because this is asking for direct evidence. If a massive PR campaign, particularly one that included controlled opposition, were orchestrating the online narrative around an unsolved double homicide, you could expect to see several layers of direct, observable evidence on social media. These signs may seem subtle when viewed in isolation, but when cross-referenced, which is a key term here, they often reveal a coordinated influence operation. Here's what you'd expect to see. Okay, here you go, note takers. Screenshot this shit. Direct evidence of narrative control on social media. Identical or near identical phrasing used across many accounts, especially following breaking news or document releases. Okay, so keep this in mind. Identical phrasing used across accounts following news or document releases. Okay. Accounts replying rapidly to any new thread with templated talking points. Let's talk about Delulu Bishes. You guys all remember that? You guys remember when the Delulu came in to my chat and I presented to you the evidence of how she had all of these pre-made talking points? Okay. Okay. Remember, Sluti came into Adrian's comments of her community post about the proposed contract with an absolutely pre-manufactured or established series of talking points related to the contract. Controlled opposition signatures. These are accounts or creators who appear critical or independent, but, and here's a key term, they appear critical and independent, right? They appear to be defense friendly. They claim to support free speech, but consistently sold out. They redirect attention away from any key lead suspects or institutions like the meth dealers and heads of Carroll County. Seem to flip positions after gaining trust. Once they have a large following, they begin dismissing the very lines of inquiry they originally explored. What about the Franks Memorandum? Okay. They used limited hangout strategies, admitting part of a truth to obscure a deeper truth. So they'll say, yeah, Rick Allen is wrongfully convicted. Rick Allen is innocent. But it's just like Nick McClellan says, except it's Ron Logan. So they'll go with that. The same timeline as Nick, same place as Nick, same mysterious bridge guy monster solo killer on the bridge. Chase the girls across water with a weapon. But it's not Rick. But they won't go further. Watch from sudden tone changes from respected accounts. Okay, questions. Have you guys seen the HCC and the Luke Nicholas freakouts? All right. Sudden tone changes. Boy, we've seen some of that. I'll show you guys later on a community post. I'm sure you enjoy it. Watch out for investigators who never question law enforcement or institutions. Influencers who quickly rise to prominence by providing reasonable sounding counterpoints that diffuse curiosity. Well, it sounds like some of the newcomers to the Delphi community, to be honest with you. Listen, I want you guys to read this one. I'm not going to name names, but read this statement I'm highlighting. Okay? Read that. Read that statement I've highlighted and ask yourself, what newcomers to the community, to the Delphi community, who've come around since after sentencing, which newcomers, or who've come around since the trial, which newcomers who've quickly risen to prominence in the community, come on, y'all, put your thinking caps on, which newcomers who quickly rose to prominence in the Delphi community, providing reasonable sounding, educated sounding counterpoints that diffuse curiosity, have risen to the surface and are currently leading a bunch of distraction campaigns. I'm just saying. I mean, this ChatGPT ain't too stupid. Okay, remember, the original question I asked is, if there was a massive PR campaign controlling the online narrative of an unsolved double homicide, including controlled opposition, what would you expect to see in terms of direct evidence? Controlled opposition, direct evidence, you'd expect to see influencers who quickly rise to prominence, providing reasonable sounding counterpoints that diffuse curiosity. Oh, that means like they shut the question down. They shut the question down by appearing to be reasonable. Also, discrediting and smear campaigns, coordinated attacks on independent researchers, survivors, or whistleblowers. Personal life, past traumas, minor inconsistencies used to destroy credibility rather than engage with their findings. Hey, Adrian, that's another thing. Let's talk about that. Arguing about minor mistakes. So this is another thing Adrian and I have been focused on with this attempt in the past weeks with us. So what they'll do, they'll take the tiniest thing you've been wrong about, or one thing you've been wrong about that's peripheral. So you have this central core of argument that you're putting forth. Well, if you make a mistake on one of the peripheral points, they'll take that peripheral point that you made an error and they'll blow it up to a major focus to try to destroy your credibility. So ChatGPT is saying it. ChatGPT said they'll use minor inconsistencies to destroy credibility rather than engage with the main points. Okay. Here's another one. Troll tactic. Anonymous or troll or burner accounts will mass reply with character attacks. This person is crazy, obsessed. He's a grifter. He sells pillows. Okay, thread derailment and disruption. Again, remember the question is, what are direct evidence of controlled opposition in social media? When sensitive topics surface, timeline gaps, missing evidence, institutional failures. Wow, this is just, imagine this. You guys need to imagine how fucking pertinent this particular one is, right? Listen to this. When sensitive topics surface, in other words, when people are talking about timeline, missing evidence, institutional failures, threads often get inundated with off-topic replies, turn into chaotic fights over irrelevant issues, or attract concerned trolls who act supportive but derail progress. Platform manipulation, shadow banning, suppressing threads that question the official narrative. Key posts keep disappearing suddenly or accounts being suspended. Case-related hashtags are used to trend and clutter. Artificial consensus. Hundreds of replies or retweets that parrot the same sentiment. I showed you this from Twitter. Okay. Showed you this from Twitter. Timing or narrative shifts. This is important here. Shifts in tone or topic coincide perfectly. Okay, listen up for all you in the back. I know it's hard to listen, ne'er-do-wells in the back. Shifts in tone or topic coincide perfectly with leaks, document leaks, witness speaking, court filing unsealed. Shifts in tone or topic, narrative, in other words, narrative shifts coinciding perfectly with leaks triggered often before the public fully absorbs the new info, which is damage control. So let's talk about this video. Okay, let's talk about this video. Remember I said the video appears to be different than we've all seen for 7 or 8 years. There appears to be an extra voice in that video. There appears to be a different look to the video than we've been told for all these years. There appears to be different words spoken in this video than we've been told. There appears to be an extra voice in this video than we've been told. This leak coincided perfectly with the shift to the appellate jurisdiction, and this leak occurred before the public has fully absorbed the video and what it possibly meant. In other words, you were controlling the narrative about this video before the public could even consume it and decide for themselves what they thought. In other words, when this video was dropped, the very first talking points were A, it's from the defense. B, it's not enhanced in any way. Now think about that. Think about that. What coincided with the release of this video before the public, look at the highlighting, before the public could fully absorb the video? It's from the defense. It's not enhanced. It's from the defense. It's not enhanced. It's from the defense. It's not enhanced. And I noticed the people were saying it looks enhanced. In other words, in the very first outlaying of this video, the public was saying it looks enhanced. The public was saying, where's this from? And the ready-made replies, before the public could even think about it, it was immediate, and I can prove it to you. The immediate narrative that spun out with the rollout of this video was, it's from the defense, it's not enhanced. Well, the two major questions was, where's this from? Is it enhanced? You see what I mean by this? This is just unbelievable, because the public was not allowed to even consider those points. In other words, is it enhanced? I mean, it certainly appears to be enhanced. Is it enhanced? How is it enhanced? In what ways is it enhanced? Is it stabilized? Is it upscaled? Is it audio enhanced? Is it color profile enhanced? Is it enhanced? Because the initial questions were, is it enhanced? Where's it from? And immediately the preemptive answers were, it's not enhanced. It's from the defense. Questions we still don't know the answer to, which is why all the questions that were asked about provenance and chain of custody were correct, pertinent, timely, important, and appropriate. And they still have not been answered 2.5 months later. All right, let's continue. Examples of controlled opposition in action, patterns. Okay. Examples of controlled opposition in action. Pattern, echo then erase. Behavior. Accounts post real leads early in the case, then later scrub them and pretend they never supported them. False advocacy. Appear to advocate for victims or justice, but subtly suppress alternative theories or evidence-based questions. Oh my God! Ah. Is that not Mean Girls? Appear to advocate for victims, and not really. Justice, maybe for Rick Allen. But subtly suppress alternative theories or evidence-based questions. I think that's a mic drop. I think that's a mic drop. We can end the fucking show. We can end the damn show right now. That's a mic drop. Excuse me. Let me repeat. This is a mic drop, but I'll continue. Appear to advocate for victims or justice, but subtly suppress alternative theories. Michael Osbrook, Angela Sadlowski, Mean Girls. Because anyone who has alternative theories are conspiracy theorists, remember? We say, we don't even know if that shit's real. We don't know if those digital artifacts are real. We don't even know if those girls were there that day. We don't know if the family's telling the truth. We don't have any fucking evidence regarding the whole family's digital devices and their timelines and the proof that they were here, there, and when they said they were, blah, 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 blah. Phone dumps. Where's the family's phone dumps? All right. Just saying, it's a mic drop. All right. Platform darlings. Oh, here's one. New creators get algorithm boost or platform partnerships while pushing sanitized content. Oh my God, that sounds like the Mean Girls. That sounds like the Mean Girls. New creators. Remember, I said, who's new? Who's come in new? Remember, I've said that. Who's come in new? Who's come in new? And gotten the partnerships and the bullshit and the who's coming on the panels. They're the platform darlings, right? They're the platform darlings. Loud, suddenly appear out of nowhere. Remember, they suddenly appear out of nowhere. They suddenly appear out of nowhere and they become platform darlings and they're boosted on all the others' platforms while pushing sanitized content. Oh boy, ChatGPT is literally genius. Literally genius. Okay, both sides fallacy, presenting a single unfounded narrative as balanced to make all other viewpoints seem extreme. This is uniparty. Okay, this is when the troll farm and the mean girls come together in this nexus where their narrative agrees. And this is specifically Nicholas McClelland's narrative, which is you all have to really consider. How in the world does the troll farm and the mean girls, how do they come together and reach this nexus that's Nick McClelland's theory of the crime, the both sides fallacy? This unfounded narrative is seen as balanced and worth arguing over. And it makes all other viewpoints seem extreme, like the profs, like Rafi's, like Adrian's, like Alex's, like anybody's. I'm telling you, there's going to be some butt hurt after tonight. Expect to see the fallout. Expect to see the fallout as all of these people whine and throw tantrums all over Twitter and all over their little live streams on YouTube and on Facebook. You're going to see the fallout from tonight's show because this is damning. AI is a it's a weapon that hits them in the Achilles heel, which is truth. Science cross verify. If you suspect narrative control or controlled opposition, ask the following questions. Who are the loudest voices? Now, these are important questions regarding Troll Farm and Mean Girls, y'all. Who are the loudest? Who's funding or platforming them? Wow. Are they willing to criticize institutions, or do they only criticize individuals and dissenters? In other words, Mean Girls, question for you. Oh, this one's going to hurt. This one's going to hurt. Sorry, but we're going to do it. Mean Girls, can you criticize the Indiana Public Defenders Council? Mean Girls, are you willing to criticize the Indiana Public Defender Council? Remember. Can you criticize the Indiana Public Defender Council? Are you able to? Are you able to criticize the Indiana Supreme Court Disciplinary Commission? Yeah? No? Are you able, Mean Girls, to criticize the Indiana Judicial Branch Public Defender's Office, the State Public Defender's Office? Criticizing, question, Mean Girls, genuine question. Are you able to criticize the Public Defender's Office of the state of Indiana, including Joel Weineke, Michael Osbrook, and Kara Weineke on the Indiana Supreme Court's Disciplinary Commission? Are you able to criticize those institutions? I mean, criticizing the, let's be honest here, criticizing Carroll County Prosecutor's Office is easy enough. Sorry, I got to blow my nose. Got a little. Hey, let's be honest, right? It's easy to criticize the white supremacists, right? It's easy to criticize the Vinlanders, right? It's easy to criticize the judge's office. It's easy to criticize the prosecutor's office. But can you also potentially criticize the Indiana State Public Defender's Office? The Supreme Court Disciplinary Commission? They're also state entities, right? Let's continue. Do they engage with real evidence or just vague debunkings and tone policing? Well, I guess like the thing is, it's interesting with All Eyes on Delphi, right? Like case in point, take All Eyes on Delphi. All Eyes on Delphi has gone from real evidence and real filings to months and months of vague debunkings and tone policing. She has. It's interesting. Do newer accounts rally around them with suspicious enthusiasm? Yes. Yes. Are other independent voices mysteriously vanishing, retracing, or recanting? Okay. Now let's see. I have more questions. This is not even close to over. I got more questions. Here's the next question I wanted to ask it. What tactics of intimidation and harassment would you expect to see from bad actors on the internet trying to divert, distract, and silence the conversation around a certain aspect of a homicide investigation? All right? If bad actors are trying to divert, distract, or silence discussion around a particular aspect of a homicide investigation, they often deploy an escalating set of intimidation and harassment tactics. Now, this is important for you. Okay, this is important for all you viewers to listen to this again in its entirety. It's because it's a multifaceted question. If bad actors are trying to divert, distract, or silence discussion around a particular aspect of a homicide investigation, they often deploy an escalating set of intimidation and harassment tactics. In other words, the intimidation and harassment will escalate. Psychological, social, and sometimes legal, aimed at making people shut up, back down, or turn on each other. Very important points, I believe. Like this ChatGPT has gotten so much better over the years. Okay. Below is a comprehensive, I can't speak. Where's the water? Here's a comprehensive breakdown of what to expect in an escalating set of intimidation and harassment tactics. Tactics of intimidation and harassment in true crime discussions. Psychological pressure tactics, also known as soft coercion. Gaslighting. That's not what was said. You're misremembering. You're being paranoid. You're being conspiracy theorist. Okay? Tone policing. You're being too emotional. You're crazy. You're obsessed with this. Relentless. Concern trolling. I just don't want you to get sued. Don't say Jinx's name. You're hurting the case. I believe Prof is doing harm to the cause for Richard Allen. I truly believe that Prof and Adrian are doing harm to Rick Allen's cause with all of their conspiracy nonsense. You're hurting the case. Guilt manipulation. You're disrespecting the victims. This isn't your tragedy. You're disrespecting the families. Goal. Disorient and emotionally destabilize a target. They do it to Adrian. Okay, Adrian's very emotional, and they emotionally destabilize her often. Okay, so in other words, what are we looking at? We're looking at psychological pressure tactics, soft coercion, disorient, emotionally destabilize with that tactic works. Social sabotage, divide and conquer. Divide and conquer. What it looks like. Whisper campaigns. Now, this is how the Alsbrook discrediting started. Okay, this is how the Alsbrook discrediting started, because when I started getting the messages, this is it. It was quiet DMs to others about how someone's gone off the rails, unstable, or dangerous. Julie Melvin's also done it to me. Julie, you've done it to me. You've lost control. Get help immediately. Seek help. Sorry, Adrian, you're not emotional. Okay, you're not emotional. I'll say you're not. Gone off the rails, unstable, dangerous, losing control. Oh, yeah. Okay. Julie Melvin, thanks. Allegation inflation, turning small mistakes or speculation into accusations of malice, obsession, or criminality. Yeah, I've said how they do that. They turn the small mistakes you make into huge thing, and they while never addressing the elephant in the room. Okay. And an important point here is how they turn those small mistakes that you might make into some high or that small. Come on, Adrian. I know she has a good point on this. That turning the small mistakes and speculation into huge allegations of malice, wrongdoing, ill intent, malintent, and all that. Yeah, they do that. They do that. They'll take your tiny mistakes and we'll turn them into, that means you're trying to because you're evil. All right. Mod infiltration. Well, they've done it to me where they try to get the wrench. This is what we call the trying to get the wrench. This is why I'm hesitant to hand out wrenches. Okay. Takeovers or manipulation of group admins to ban or silence certain members. This is why I never like handing out wrenches to new people. Okay. Because this is something they do. And I know if Charles is still in here, he will admit to it or vouch for it. They try to get the wrenches. Mod infiltration. I mean, that was one of the primary things that was first done on my channel. They wanted to get the wrenches, okay, to control the narrative. And this is what they do in all the community. They try to hold the wrenches in the whole community to control the chat in the comment section, the chat and the comment section, okay? Stop it, Shibby. All right. Sudden alliances, bad actors posing as allies, then flipping and outing, DMs or private behavior to break trust. Yeah, well, that happened to me in the early days. Okay. That happened to me in the early days. So, in other words, these bad actors, what they'll try to do is get your DMs and try to get your nudes. Okay. They'll try to get your DMs and nudes. Okay. And they'll go into it knowing they might have to commit for 6 months or a year. And as soon as they get those DMs and nudes and they think they have enough, then they'll break alliances. Okay. Okay. Can I say Luis Cuevas again? Since she likes to say my name 150 fucking times a week. Luis Cuevas is a prime example. Okay. She's not the only one, though. All right. So keep saying my name. I'll keep saying yours. Overt harassment and threats. Well, we've had this. Aggressive suppression. So we've had this, and I have all the receipts to prove it to you. Doxing. Sharing addresses, employee info, family details to intimidate. Yes, that's what they always do. That's the go-to. Okay, and I have plenty of that. I have all the evidence of it, including Luke Nicholas doing it. Okay. Swarming. Dozens or hundreds of hostile replies, tags, quotes, tweets all at once. That's called what they do on Twitter especially. So the troll farm does it on YouTube, and the mean girls do it on Twitter. Okay, they swarm. They swarm. We've covered that. A lot of this is going to be repeats because I asked the same question about 15 times. Okay, but I'm trying to do this is sort of an educational experience. By going through this, we should all learn the signs. Okay, we should all be learning the warning signs by the repetition tonight. Okay, so the swarming, the doxing, the mass reporting. Okay, anonymous threats. We know where you live. We're going to put a bullet in your driveway. We're going to post your house on the internet. We're going to email your own house. We're going to say your town on the internet. We're going to go to Reddit and say your state. We're going to put your state and your town on Twitter. We're going to put your town on Twitter. Da 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 da. Okay, in real life crossover, calling the workplace, calling the family members, sending threats to their home, which they've done to both Adrian and I repeatedly, harassing friends and family. They've done to Adrian and I repeatedly. Okay. Frighten. This is called direct or overt harassment and threats. Overt harassment and threats. Information warfare, narrative pollution, thread hijacking, flooding case threads with irrelevant spam, emotional bait, endless circular arguments, something they're good at. Okay. Posing as conspiracy theorists or unstable followers to discredit legitimate lines of inquiry. Using ridicule, sarcastic edits, or meme accounts to trivialize serious findings. Releasing bogus theories or tips to split attention. Confuse the audience, drown out facts, make the investigation seem too chaotic. It's called disinformation campaign. This case has suffered from it more than any other case I've ever seen. Legal and institutional suppression, top-down intimidation. You'll be sued if you keep saying this. $50,000. Okay. Platform manipulation. Getting accounts suspended for violating terms after coordinated reporting. Yes, KO. You. I'm looking at you, Kato here. Okay. Police or lawyer contacting moderators or journalists to warn against specific narratives. Ooh, yes, that has happened. Okay, let's continue. And this is called leveraging authority to silence criticism. Specific things to watch for. Posts that immediately attract hostility, even if they're factual or respectful. All right. Accounts that only show up when a specific subject or theory is mentioned. Well, I'll tell you this. You say Don Toretti, All Eyes is going to post. Oh, my God. All right. Sudden deletions or disappearances of contributors. Out of proportion backlash to very minor points. That's a repeated thing we've been saying. Okay, we've repeatedly said that they do these out of proportion backlash to very minor points. Let me give you a case in point because I don't want to let this go by without addressing it. Okay, I often say to people, disproportionate response to minor points. For instance, when Prof received the copyright claim, which we're going to discuss later. When I received the copyright claim due to posting the Bridge Guy video, I merely posted the claim saying that it's odd that Gray Media would claim copyright on this. Something's weird. And then furthermore, I posted receipts that showed that Gray Media is a PR firm attached to the Lafayette Police Department and to Judge Gull's office. That's all that I did. I made no wild conspiracy claims. I made no direct allegations of who to who and this and that. I merely brought to the attention these very minor points that gray media claimed copyright on this, which was odd. I posted it. And then gray media just happens to be tied to Lafayette PD and Judge Gold's office, posted it. And there was a disproportionate reaction by Cato Hare and Luke Nicholas to that. I'll actually be showing it to you in the future. But it makes you wonder, why the disproportionate response to that? And there was another one. There was another disproportionate response to, well, I'll continue. Let's continue. I forget the other one. Someone might remind me in the chat. It's kind of slipping my memory. What was the other huge disproportionate response? People fucking freaked out. You know? All right. But freak out, I often call this freakouts. Okay, when they freak out majorly over the smallest little things. You're like, what in the hell? Why are you acting so weird about such a small point? Okay. And this shout out to Troll Farm for using the emotional narratives to shut down inquiry. Just let the families heal. You're re-victimizing the families. Blah, 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 blah. How to spot that it's all coordinated. They use the same language. The activity spikes during court filings, document leaks, or new expert analysis. Okay, this is important to note. Everyone taking notes, screenshot this screen right here. This is a good screen to screenshot. Okay, I would say this is a good screen to screenshot. Oh yeah, there you go. Thank you. Thank you, Samantha. Samantha Springman. That's another one. Yeah, a major freak out around the fact that people initially, like the fact is that when people first laid eyes on this Bridge Guy video, most people's first impression was, that looks enhanced or tampered with. I mean, that was a natural first response because of the way that it looks. And boy, they freaked out about that. There was such a freak out about, no, it's not enhanced. No, it's not enhanced. No, it's not enhanced. All right. We're almost done with this one. Okay. We got another question I have to pull up for you. This is an interesting one I got for you guys. Let's whip this one out. Excuse me while I whip this here out. All right. Now, this is an interesting hypothetical. This is an interesting hypothetical. I asked it. ChatGPT, if a YouTube channel has 5,500 followers and regularly engages in 350 on live streams, how many narrative controllers or troll accounts would be necessary to effectively distract and disrupt and intimidate the channel's creator and followers in an effort to intimidate them into silence or run them off the platform? Have there been any documented instances of this before? Your question is dead on for understanding how coordinated harassment and narrative control actually function at the micro level of digital influence. Let's break it down into 3 parts. Now, this is an important one, y'all. Actually, let me make myself smaller so I can. Now I'll go down here. Can I go down here? Once again, the question, let's go back. If a YouTube channel has 5,500 followers, regularly engages on 350 live streams, how many narrative controllers or troll accounts would be necessary to effectively distract, disrupt, and intimidate the channel's creator and followers in an effort to intimidate them into silence run them off the platform. Have there been documented instances of this before? Your question is dead on for understanding it. Let's break it down. How many trolls or narrative controllers are needed to derail a small to mid-sized channel? Given 5,500 subscribers, 350 regular viewers, likely 30 to 50 active commenters per stream. All sounds good. Effective disruption can be achieved with 5 to 10 disruptors. Now, this is an education, y'all, in Troll Farm. 5 to 10 disruptors will derail the chat, inject divisive comments, and trigger arguments. Okay. EchoBot support trolls, 5 to 10, appear to agree with disruptive content to create false consensus or pylons. Disinfo pushers, 2 to 5, drop misleading or fake evidence, then vanish. Intimidators, 2 to 4, personally attack the host or guest, threaten them, or spam them with watch your back style messages. You should know who those people used to be that would always come in. Like, you know, Greeno. Okay. Flaggers, 5 to 10, coordinate flagging campaigns to get streams demonetized, age restricted, or taken down. Well, you know, I've told you, we usually have about 20 of those from the Discord, 15 to 20. So this says 5 to 10 would be enough. Minimum required to be effective, 15 to 30 coordinated accounts. Okay, 15 to 30. This number is enough to dominate a chat, derail a conversation, and make it appear that a host has lost support even when 90% of the audience disagrees. Imagine that. Imagine that 15 to 30 trolls in a channel my size, 15 to 30 trolls would be enough to dominate a chat, derail the conversation, and make it appear that a host has lost support even when 90% of the audience disagrees with them. If a few of these trolls are skilled at psychological manipulation or mimic real community members, they can be deeply destabilizing. Documented examples of coordinated harassment, narrative control. Yes, this happens many times. Notable examples include Gamergate 2014, a coordinated campaign on YouTube, Reddit, and Twitter. Targeted independent creators, critics, and journalists. Used sock puppets, mass flagging, doxing, and swarm tactics. Showed how small groups can create the illusion of a massive movement. This is troll farm tactics, y'all. Troll farm tactics. And remember, like I've said, it's zero doubt that the Mean Girls or a Troll Farm 2.0 have now aligned themselves with Troll Farm 1.0. So we're going to expect to see the same tactics. Okay. Same tactics. We're going to see small groups of 15 people come in and try to create the illusion of a massive movement. That's exactly what we're dealing with. QAnon push. Teams of bad actors promoted false leads, drowned out real discussions. Smaller creators who tried to bring nuance were flooded with accusations, trolls, etc. Many were driven off the platform or forced to self-censor. Like I said, ask yourself, how many YouTube creators in Delphi who were anti-narrative, okay, how many creators in Delphi who questioned the family? Remember, part of my thesis here is that the Patty family has literally controlled the online narrative for years in coordination with law enforcement. Okay, and they've used the troll accounts and troll creators to do this. Okay. Documented cases like Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein, where defenders of the accused used burner accounts to attack survivors intimidate journalists, seed disinformation. PR firms and private investigators were sometimes behind these campaigns, as exposed in court filings. Court of public opinion, manipulation. Now, you guys better listen. Remember, I didn't ask it any question about Delphi, so this is very pertinent here for all of you who are watching. Court of public opinion manipulation. Delphi, Idaho, for etc. Remember, I did not ask it about Delphi. Listen to this. In ongoing cases like the Delphi murders, creators who propose alternative theories or question inconsistencies have reported sudden waves of downvotes and troll comments. Copycat channels mocking or mimicking their style. Anonymous accounts attempting to bait them into discrediting statements. This is consistent with soft censorship tactics used in high stakes legal cases. Okay? What makes these attacks so effective? Psychological exhaustion. Small creators can't keep up with relentless disruption or worry about retaliation online. This is why they've run everyone off. This is the reason they've run everyone off who are not strong enough to make it through, because the psychological exhaustion is extreme. Small creators can't keep up with this relentless disruption and worry about the retaliation. They also strike fear into your hearts by doxing you and letting you know they know where you live. Even a few trolls can make it feel like everyone thinks you're wrong or crazy. YouTube may penalize channels that draw too much controversy or flag activity, even if there's a victim. Regular viewers may leave to avoid the drama, reducing organic engagement. Now, this is a huge problem. And this is a huge problem we're currently embroiled in. Not only that, we were embroiled in this about a year and a half, 2 years ago, when I made my first resistance to the troll farm, okay? Remember, when I first butted heads with the troll farm and was not going to be victimized by them, when that first headbutting occurred, I suffered immensely from this audience erosion, where my regular viewers left to avoid the drama, reducing my engagement. So I went down from 100 viewers. At the time, I was getting 90 to 100 viewers, and I went down to 20 to 30. Okay, so that was a significant reduction in my viewers, because they didn't want to hear the drama, because they didn't understand that the troll farm was an actual real thing. It was an actual bad thing. It was a dangerous thing. It was a bad thing, and it was steering the narrative in the Delphi murders. But this is a problem we're encountering again, because like I said, we're going from 350 viewers to 150 viewers. So it's like, although this is a necessary evil to fight this plague that plagues the Delphi murders case, it's a thing where it's a necessary evil. It's a battle that has to be fought. It's something that the audience is going to have to cope with, because listen, if you understand that the plague here in the Delphi murders is no longer arguing about the theory of the crime, it's actually arguing about the bad actors who are controlling the narrative of the case and the uniparty and the entire narrative stranglehold on this case. If you don't understand that that's the problem, then of course you're not going to watch, and you're going to run away, because you're going to want to hear people speculate about how many people are at the crime scene when nobody knows how many fucking people are at the crime scene. Okay, so you'll go watch case by case or something that's going to like reiterate the same old fucking screenshots of disinformation that's been displayed to you hundreds and thousands of times in the past 8 years. So you're going to go watch that, as opposed to watching this shit show unfold, which you're going to be interested in 2 years down the road when you understand what has actually been revealed. But in the meantime, you know, the person who suffers is the victim of all of the harassment. And that's what this is one of the points, is the audience erosion. And remember, the question this is answering is, in a YouTube channel of my size, how many narrative controllers would be necessary to be effective? And have there been documented instances previously. So it says if you're trying to detect or prevent this, track account creation dates of hostile users. Many will be new. Yes, indeed. That's one of our tactics that we use to determine who the trolls are. Because when the trolls come in, they're always in a new account, except maybe 10% of the time they'll use rename an old account that they've trolled with before. Look for the same phrases or tropes. That means watch the language, because they will tell you who the people are. Oops. Watch for spikes in hostility after publishing bad shit. Yes, well, guess what? It's going to happen more, because I'm about to go at the troll farm for what they're doing. Use tools to spot engagement manipulation. Okay? Now, I have a couple more questions before we're done here. All right. Shit. Well, no. I guess one of them I wanted to ask as a follow-up before I go to my next one. Whoops. I wanted to ask... I wanted to ask it this. What are soft censorship tactics used in high-stakes legal cases? Since it referred to that, let's read from some. Soft censorship refers to indirect or covert methods of suppressing information, controlling speech, or shaping public discourse without overt bans or explicit censorship. In high-stake legal cases, Delphi murders, institutional corruption, homicide, high-profile defendants, or soft censorship is often deployed. Now listen, I just asked it, what is soft censorship? It says soft censorship is often deployed to discredit, isolate, or silence voices that pose a risk to what? The official narrative. This is rich. I couldn't pay ChatGPT to be this on point. Here's a comprehensive breakdown of how soft censorship tactics manifest, especially in true crime and legal commentary spaces. Woof. What is soft censorship in legal cases? Non-official, informal, algorithmically mediated suppression of voices, topics, or information deemed inconvenient, controversial, or damaging to powerful interests. Often without users even being realizing they're being censored. Tactics include algorithmic suppression, shadow banning, reduced discoverability in the search engines, okay, demonetization, non-recommendations, suppressed hashtags, auto-flagging keywords, okay. Example, a YouTube live stream discussing corruption or cult theories might get instantly demonetized or have live chat disabled, even if no rules are broken. Community level chilling effects. Mods remove posts or ban users who speculate too far. This has been debunked. Replies. Sounds like all eyes, right? Rules change mid-case in forums to restrict specific keywords, theories, or linked documents. Well, that's what I'm saying about how it's very strange. Okay, to me, I got to comment on this for a moment. It's very strange to me that it was right prior to trial time where the discrediting and the shaming and the language policing of alternative theories around the crime actually came in via these defense people. Okay, so when it came to me, Christine, and Erica, alleging that there's some cartel angle to this and a huge methamphetamine possible connection to these murders of Abby and Libby, and it's a group, and that there were questions that have not been answered. As soon as we started with that angle and relaying that was some of what we were really centering on, the rules changed. Okay, the rules changed. And so the rules became, we're not arguing over that anymore. We're not interested in that anymore. We're solely interested in Nick McClelland's theory and on countering Nick McClelland's theory, to the detriment of Prof, Erica, and Christine, and anyone else who thinks that there's more to this crime. Okay? So the rules changed mid-case in concerning or in relation to specific theories or keywords. And they labeled this inquiry as conspiracy to delegitimize it, even if it was grounded in court records. See? The purpose of this was to make thoughtful participants self-censor out of fear of being banned, ridiculed, or isolated. Well, that was the purpose of Osbrook making the rounds, okay, to do what he did. Let's continue. Reputation destruction. That's the phase we're in now. Indirect censorship. So we're currently engaged in a reputation destruction phase where smear campaigns against creators, bloggers, journalists, and survivors to undermine their influence without challenging their facts. Yes, this is to undermine my influence to my viewers of my channel, which is incredibly infuriating. Okay, they attempt to quote unquote expose accounts, claiming they're grifters, mentally unstable or obsessed. Dude, you would swear that they've literally looked at the Delphi community and the outlashing or the outlash at prof. Like this is almost, if you're looking at this is almost identical to what we've been experiencing the past month. False flagging of credible accounts to make them appear like trolls, conspiracy theorists, or bad actors. Using fake fans to praise and then pivot to embarrassment. I used to love them, but they went too far. Yeah, I know a few like that. I'm not going to name them because they're going to get butthurt if I say their names, but you know who you are out there. The goal is to erode the credibility of the dissenters, like the prof, without ever engaging their actual audience. Yes, why don't you convince my audience that I'm wrong and without smearing me? Noise flooding and thread flooding. Hijacking key threads with irrelevant spam, out of context screenshots, or unrelated drama. Mass replying to serious questions with ridicule, memes, or baiting arguments. That's what they do. Okay. Posting fake leaks. Weaponizing trauma. Yes, like going about my son. Okay, talking about my son who I had absolutely nothing to do with his crimes or his alleged crimes. And he has already been addressed by the criminal justice system. My son is currently serving a sentence which was a plea deal in which he pled guilty to 2 charges, not 48, but 2 charges. My son, but weaponizing the trauma of my family, okay, and weaponizing the family of Abby and Libby and saying, "How dare you say the family?" Weaponizing trauma overall is what they do. Institutional legal pressure, false legal threats, defamation. I'm going to sue you. You know, you've seen this. Okay. Bulk reporting my streams, as Kate O'Hare has done, for privacy complaints in which I never shared your physical address, your email address, or your phone number, or any private information, but you still go file the privacy complaints. News flash, Kate O'Hare, you're engaging in exactly this stuff right here, which is called institutional legal pressures that don't look like censorship, using YouTube privacy complaints, pressuring platforms behind the scenes, reputation management firms. Okay, these tactics don't violate laws directly, but they functionally silence people. What you noticed in soft censorship. Okay. Major case developments ignored by the mainstream media. Yeah, there's a whole lot of shit, by the way, from the Delphi defense filings that were incredibly major developments that the mainstream media ignored. Question in the back. How many of you agree with that? How many of you agree that there were major case developments in the defense filings? Like the hair in Abby's hand? Okay. Like the fact that law enforcement lost 70 days of investigative product, like the fact that law enforcement did not provide any of the family's cell phone data dumps at all, any of the family's interrogations and all that shit. Ignored by the mainstream media, whole cloth, while trivial updates were amplified. I mean, this is major, yo. Certain creators, this is Delphi This is Delphi, totally Delphi right here. Certain creators stop covering the case altogether after threats, strikes, or smears. How many of you, raise your hand in the chat, how many of you can attest to the fact that certain creators stopped covering the case altogether after threats, strikes, or smears? In other words, yeah, what happened to Robert Lindsay? What happened to Julia? What happened to Rod Holt? What happened to Clutch? What happened to all the creators who just totally left? All right. Who uses soft censorship and why? This is another one to screenshot, y'all. This one's major. This looks major. Who uses this type of censorship? Legal defense teams to shape jury pools, okay? PR crisis management firms to protect local governments and institutions. Law enforcement and prosecutors to control witness info, preserve case optics. State or corporate actors to protect powerful individuals to suppress systemic allegations. Excuse me, y'all. This needs to be screenshot. Who uses soft censorship and why? Legal defense, PR crisis management, law enforcement, prosecutors, state actors. And honestly, in terms of the Delphi case, you could look at all of this as state actors. All of this goes under the state actor umbrella because the legal defense teams are state actors. Any PR firm that was brought in by the family or by the local government of Delphi, that's state actor. Law enforcement, prosecutor, state actor. State actor, state actor. All of this is state actors, in my opinion. Can't make this shit up? Sorry. How to push back. Archive everything, done. Publish in multiple formats, done. Call out tactics openly. That's what law enforcement told me, actually. Done. My law enforcement told me, you publish everything. When I brought my harassment to my law enforcement, they said, Prof, publish everything. Everything. Every threat, every harassment, every intimidation, everything, publish it. And I've done so. So it sounds like law enforcement was actually locally giving me a good advice. Archive everything using screenshots, download, publish in multiple formats, call out openly, educate others on what's happening. That's what I'm doing with this show tonight. Okay, use specific language, find or build communities like here on YouTube. Okay. Now, let's see. Like I said, I do have two more. And I saved the two best for last. So let's see if I can get this brought up. All right, it says, could you please strategize a comprehensive PR campaign to help control the narrative around a group of interrelated homicides in the U.S. using the full spectrum of social media resources? Please include creators, platforms, channels, trolls, controlled opposition, media, and law enforcement assets and disinformation agents in your overall strategy. So this is where I'm playing devil's advocate or whatever you want to call it. I don't know what you term it. What do you term this? I'm basically asking it to think like the bad guy. I'm saying, hey, ChatGPT, you be the bad guy. And let's see what it says. I can't help with that. What you're asking of creating a comprehensive disinformation or manipulation campaign to control public perception around serious crimes crosses ethical and legal boundaries. It would involve deliberately misleading the public, undermining truth-seeking, potentially harming victims, their families, and people working in good faith to solve or report these crimes. If you're studying these tactics for investigative, journalistic, academic, or protective purposes, I can help analyze how such campaigns work in the real world and how to spot them or how to defend against them. Let me know how to proceed within that scope. And okay. Oh my God. I'll say yes. Let's go with that. Oh my gosh. Of course, that's the reason I'm trying to do it, bro. What are you trying to say? All right. It says, great. Well, first, before I go on, let me say this. Hey, all of you trolls and narrative controllers out there, let me just say, what you're doing out there crosses. Take advice from ChatGPT, trolls. What you're doing crosses ethical, legal, and moral boundaries, and it involves deliberately misleading the public, undermining truth-seeking, and potentially harming victims, their families, and people working in good faith to solve or report these crimes. How dare you? Shame, shame, shame. All right, let's continue. Now it says, great, since you're being good, approaching this from an investigative or defensive standpoint is essential in today's media landscape, especially around high-profile or sensitive criminal cases. Below is a comprehensive breakdown of how a coordinated disinformation and perception management campaign is typically structured so that researchers, journalists, and concerned citizens can spot them and build resilience around them. So let's not be manipulated. Here's how we do it. Understand and identify a full spectrum narrative control campaign around interrelated homicides. Remember, my thesis here is that there are several interrelated homicides in the Midwest. I'm saying that cases like the Memphis 3, like Evansdale, like Delphi, and several others are possibly, most definitely interrelated by the same group and covered by the same narrative control campaign on the internet. Delphi is not an isolated incident. Therefore, this should be really instructive on how to handle or identify this full spectrum narrative control campaign centered around these multiple interrelated homicides. That's a mouthful. Okay, this model reflects how bad actors may exploit the full range of online and institutional tools to control or distort public understanding of a case. Think of it as a playbook for disinformation and perception warfare, not to emulate, but to analyze and counteract. Phases of disinformation campaign in a homicide case. Phase 1, seeding the narrative. Set the baseline story before independent actors start asking questions. PR media craft sympathetic narratives about certain persons or institutions. Example, law enforcement, suspects, and families. Wow, Delphi did that good with the families, didn't they? Didn't they do it good with the families? Families of Libby especially, right? The family of Libby, oh my gosh. Well, let me just say it, the Patty family. Didn't they do it real good with the Patty family? Shape early press briefings to define the acceptable storyline. This is why I hate Doug Carter to this day. May withhold or selectively release facts. That's why Doug Carter is a terrible person in my book. Okay? He's an actor, all right. And I never will appreciate the way that he gaslit, manipulated, and twisted people's emotions in his various press briefings. Influences were built in trust. Mommy bloggers, ex-cops. Now think about the Delphi murders. mommy bloggers, women, single women, even ex-cops, YouTube legal and analysts, like the lawyers. Okay, this is the mommy bloggers, the ex-cops, the YouTube lawyers, etc., act as trusted amplifiers of the official narrative. Oh, this is rich. This is rich. Built-in trust. In other words, not the prof. Not the prof. Tools used: press releases, interviews, leaked selective evidence. Wow, that's a rich one. Hashtag seeding. Phase 2, containment of alternative narratives. Prevent organic speculation or evidence-based inquiry from gaining traction. Controlled opposition. Creators who appear to question a narrative but steer conversations, and here's a key point, away from the key threads or contradictions. Okay? That means the number one goal of controlled opposition is steering away from the key threads or contradictions. Sock puppeting, also known as trolls. Fake accounts to pose as whistleblowers, locals, whoever, then later discredit themselves to poison real inquiry. Trolling. Trolls flood Reddit, YouTube, and Twitter with irrelevant, absurd theories. This is called the disinformation campaign, which I've told you. Delphi suffers from disinformation that has been intentionally injected into the Delphi murders conversation. Right? Hashtag dilution uses alternate accounts, troll accounts. Coordinated comment brigades. We've seen that from the troll farm, by the way. I have plenty of evidence of the coordinated comment brigades, where all the troll farm floods into the comment section and they back each other up. And sometimes you even have the same individual under multiple of his own accounts. And I'm not going to call his name, but he knows who he is. There's a certain individual who used to be in the troll farm where he'd come in, make a comment under his own shit, and then another comment, and then another one, and another one, another one. Paid engagement farms, okay? Engagement farms. Paid engagement farms. I think this Mean Girls have done some of this, okay? AI-generated misinformation, okay? Phase 3, active suppression of threats. Intimidate, silence, and deplatform people who get too close to the actual fucking truth. Got it? Troll armies. Trolls, troll farms. Okay, this basically troll armies means troll farms for all of the idiots in the back. Troll farms. What do troll farms do? They conduct harassment campaigns against creators or FOIA researchers. So basically, troll farms conduct harassment campaigns, period. End of story. End of story. This is why you've seen me fighting the troll farm. Hello, for all you who don't understand, all of you who don't understand the war with the troll farm, because that's all they do. Disinfo agents are also trolls. Okay, they also like using fake accounts, and they do this. Okay, I know I could name a few of them, but I'll leave her name out of my fucking mouth tonight because I don't feel like getting her all riled up. But I know a particular disinfo agent. That's all she does. She drops false leads, straight up lies, and then discredits the people who then investigate them. Okay, and she basically sets up people with false leads in order that they can be later discredited, is the way I would state it in this particular individual. Okay, slap threats, legal intimidation, send cease and desist letters or bogus privacy complaints to silence critics. That's also what trolls do. Platform moderation. They back channel with YouTube to label critics as dangerous or unstable. They use mass reporting, flagging, doxing, threats, legal scare tactics, and algorithmic suppression via policy abuse, false reporting. Okay, they build the illusion of consensus. They convince the public the matter is settled. Settled. End of story. Michael Osbrook has done that plenty. The skeptics are fringe and dangerous, says Luke Nicholas. We are fringe and dangerous. We are damaging the cause of Richard Allen, they say. Case closed. Okay. Don't worry about the conspiracy theories or YouTube sleuthers. Okay. Formerly skeptical creators announced they were wrong or misled, often after quiet pressure. Academics, journalists, NGOs, experts, whoever use their reputation to stabilize the dominant narrative. Okay, that's another epidemic that plagues Delphi right now. All right? They use sponsored content, Wikipedia edits, social media manipulation in the search engine optimization, and they bury the counter narratives, and they target bans and demonetization, which they're trying to do to me now. Okay, patterns to watch for: sudden rise of trusted voices. Remember this from earlier? Sudden rise of trusted voices who deflect scrutiny. Woo, woo. Whew, controlled oppositions. Sudden rise of people who are propped up as new members of the community who just suddenly are so special. I mean, you guys yourselves can say in the chat, but I'm not going to say any names. But I think you know a few in the chat who've in the past 6 months just suddenly surfaced. You know, so like for real. In the past year, who has suddenly surfaced in Delphi? Who are the creators who suddenly surfaced in Delphi and now all of a sudden are authoritative, trusted voices? Come on, y'all. Get in this chat and say their name so I don't have to. I think I could name a few trusted voices who have come into Delphi in the past year who totally astroturf and control the narrative. Strong moderation in case forums. Okay, they do that. They use trauma or victim narratives to silence critics, which is weaponization of emotion. They weaponize emotion. Okay, they scrub. You know, all the scrubbing we've seen. There's going to be more scrubbing, by the way. The same 10 to 20 troll accounts repeatedly attack independent researchers. Listen, I showed you that on Friday. Okay, Judge Jessica, Keith, Luke, right? All Eyes, Michael Osbrook. Okay, add to them the Troll Farm 2.0, Troll Farm 1.0. Same 10 to 20 fucking accounts repeatedly attacking with a coordinated harassment. I call it gang stalking. Okay, and what they say is gang stalking doesn't exist. No, there's gang stalking, and it's what they do. It's what they do. The same 10 to 20 accounts gang stalk, repeatedly attacking for stepping outside the bounds of accepted speech or approved speech. Defensive tools. Archive everything. Use burner accounts. Map troll accounts. Use neutral phrasing. Partner with decentralized media. Okay? Which I'm going to be doing more of, but diversifying my outlets. For the audiences, and this is especially important for you below, okay? So for you who are watching, this is for you. Screenshot this. For the viewing audience, here's what's important for you. Ask questions like, who benefits from a certain narrative? How about follow the court filings as primary sources? Be cautious of creators who never question institutions or change stances overnight. Okay. Also, recognize when a discussion becomes emotional manipulation instead of evidence-based. So, question for you in the audience. If Prof is putting up 150 screenshots to back up his points, which he calls receipts, and you're watching another group who is merely using their mouths and using emotional terms like, this upsets the family, this upsets the case for Richard Allen, this upsets Angela, and then all of these terms, if they're constantly appealing to emotion, instead of consistently presenting you with fact-based, evidence-based, receipt-based presentations that back up their perspective or what they're relaying to you, you can look at all of these as a sign. Okay, so the emotional versus evidence release, the not questioning, the interpretation based versus filing, asking who benefits. Okay, it's important. And anyhow, very last one for you guys. One more. The last one is, what techniques would you use to throw the online narrative off course when it got too close to the truth of what happened in these murders you were wishing to cover up? And when the discussion got too centered over the target? And again, I can't help with that. Deliberately trying to derail truthful conversations or cover up the truth in homicide cases, not just unethical, it's harmful to justice, to victims' families, and the public. These actions can obstruct investigations, mislead the public, and traumatize those seeking answers. If you're studying disinformation to understand identity or protect against narrative manipulation, let me know, okay? And I'll say yes. Let me say yes. Last one. All right. Let's focus on understanding the tactics that malicious actors use to derail truthful online conversations so you can recognize, investigate, and defend against them. These are especially important to know when conversations around unsolved or sensitive homicide cases begin to get too close to the truth, i.e., they threaten to expose protected individuals, institutions, or narrative. And that's an important point there. I think this is the important point. Getting too close to the truth basically means that protected individuals, institutions, or narratives are threatened. Okay, protected individuals, institutions, or narratives. To map and understand the tactical playbook bad actors may use when online discussions begin centering on credible, sensitive, or damaging truths in a criminal investigation, these methods are drawn from real-world case studies in political black ops, corporate crisis PR, and high-profile criminal cover-ups. So this will be interesting. Derailment and misdirection tactics used to throw a conversation off target. Thread hijacking. What it is, coordinated flooding of a discussion thread to push it off topic. Signs to watch for. Irrelevant arguments injected at key moments. Post flooded with low effort content, memes, GIFs, jokes, and trolling. Long-winded commenters arguing over unrelated details. That's important. Sudden shift to culture war issues, politics, identity, etc. That's another important one. Purpose to bury useful content and wear out investigators emotionally. Too soon or let it go moral framing. What it is, using appeals to emotion to silence inquiry. Okay, let it go. Tactics used. No, the families need peace. Ooh, that's rich. That's rich. That's rich, Troll Farm. The families need peace. This isn't the time for conspiracy theories. Stop obsessing. It's disrespectful. Think about the kids, Abby and Libby. You see? You see? You see? Tactics use of too soon or let it go framing. The families need peace. It isn't time for conspiracy theory. Stop obsessing. Think about the victims. Purpose. Equate asking the tough questions with being unethical. Here's a tip to respond. Emphasize that truth-seeking is an act of respect. Truth-seeking is an act of respect. Truth-seeking is an act of respect, especially when justice is incomplete. Number 3, flooding with false leads, seeding with fake tips, documents, or leaks. Signs to watch: anonymous inside sources, bizarre but emotionally compelling story surface. Yeah, I would think of Brandon Woodhouse, for instance. Brandon Woodhouse, right? Mark Cohen, anonymous inside sources, bizarre but emotionally compelling stories, theories that are plausible enough but can't be verified, false leads tied to real facts to muddy the waters. It's intended to fracture the truth seeking community and waste time. Prioritize primary sources, archive everything. Character assassination of key voices, discrediting or isolating the most informed, persistent voices. Ooh, that's rich. That's rich. Sounds familiar, I think. Would it be egotistical of me to say would it be egotistical for me to consider myself an informed, persistent voice? Here's what they will do to discredit, right? They will dig into a person's past, framing normal behavior as suspicious. Sounds familiar? Oh, he's not with his baby's mother? Oh, that's suspicious. Oh, he quit his job? Oh, that's suspicious. Oh, he moved from one locality to another? Oh, that's suspicious. Oh, he did a fundraiser to raise funds for an attorney to hit up the defamation on the YouTubes. Oh, that's suspicious. Suspicious. Accusations of mental illness, obsession, or criminality. He needs mental help. He's unhinged. He's lost control. He's gone off the rails. He's a conspiracy theorist. I used to respect them, but he went crazy because he started talking about trolls. Oh, look, leaking the DMs or out of context clips. Oh, yeah. Victim. Yeah, let's leak Prof's DMs. Let's put some out of context 2-year-old clips up to paint someone as unstable. Been there, done that. This is how they do it. This is how they do it. Purpose. You want to cut off credibility of who? Let's see. I said informed, persistent voices like the prof. You want to discredit us. Okay. Cut off credibility so my insights are ignored. Watch for sudden changes in tone towards prominent creators right after major breakthroughs. Yeah. Let's see. Publish the Bridge Guy video. Publish the contract. Boom. False consensus. Astroturfing. Creating the illusion that everyone agrees with the false version of events. Signs to watch for. Dozens of replies echoing the same sentiment. Downvote brigades. Disliking floods. Influx of new inactive accounts suddenly pushing one narrative's troll accounts. Suppression of comments that challenge the majority. It's to pressure onlookers to conform, discourage alternative viewpoints. Okay. Emotional bombing, chaos insertion. What it is, overloading a space with emotionally reactive content. Okay. At strategic moments, graphic imagery, spiritual language, deep trauma disclosure. Emotional bombing. Signs to watch for. Grief hijacking. As someone who lost a sister, as someone who's a trauma victim, as you're attacking a survivor, sudden accusations. Graphic depictions. It's to replace logic with emotional noise. Repeated emotional expression is used as a derailment and is a signal of manipulation. Strategy tactics to monitor. Fake friend strategy. A seemingly supportive account slowly redirects attention or introduces soft disinfo. Track these fake friends over time. Trust me, we're onto that. Crisis actor accusation, smearing the witness or family members as fakes to invalidate inconvenient testimony. Cross-reference facts. Debunker bots, accounts trained to instantly reply with debunk messages. Respond with sources, don't argue, observe patterns. Narrative reset timing. When public disclosure gets too close, news breaks on an unrelated subject to steal attention. We've seen that with the swatting. Okay, this is how they use swatting. So they will often use swatting in this very way, okay, that you see here. Narrative reset. Okay, when public disclosure gets close, news breaks on an unrelated subject, like swatting, to steal the attention. Pull the rug out from under the initial big news. Okay. How to stay centered on truth. Create private research logs with timestamps, etc. Use long-form platforms to preserve detailed breakdowns. Establish truth anchors. This is my advice to my friend, okay? We have to sometimes remind ourselves of truth anchors. And what truth anchors are something you can touch when you get confused or when the emotional and logical manipulation is directed at you so severely that you get confused and you start to question your own reality. Oftentimes you need truth anchors, things that you can go and touch and remind yourself of that have actually occurred, that are actually true, that actually have happened, that you're not delusional about, to reset where you are. Okay, so there are truth anchors you can all adhere to. And whoops, I crashed out of the stream. Okay, but let me say the truth anchors, right? The truth anchors. You can go and touch those truth anchors is the point. And when you go and touch those truth anchors, they reset your brain to go from the self-doubt and confusion into the truth, where you realign yourself to reality or reground yourself. And you can do that using I would say, first of all, prior experiences that you know to be grounded in truth, that you can establish as your own personal truth anchors. And you can also go into central documents, maps, timelines, repositories, if you're talking about case things. Okay. It also says hold space for critical conversations in small vetted communities, like my YouTube channel where the chat is on board. Okay. Also, train your community in disinfo literacy. That's what we're doing tonight, so they don't fall for divide and conquer tactics. Okay. Would you like a downloadable? Yes. Let's say yes. See what happens. Okay. Here's a comprehensive downloadable style checklist to help you and your community identify, track, and counteract narrative derailment, self-censorship tactics in online discussions of sensitive criminal cases. You can use this as a field tool for moderators, researchers, content creators, or journalists working on high-stakes investigations. Use this to audit suspicious behavior, identify patterns, and maintain clarity when discussions start attracting disruption. Okay. How about if I do this? Let me go down and I say, can I just say yes? Haven't I already said yes to this? So we're done with this. I can remove this and there we go. We are back and I will be downloading it. But there you go. That is the ChatGPT or ChatGP me. Okay. An AI assisted deep dive into the clusterfuck of this community. And look, like I said, we had an opportunity to move beyond some things and go back to pretending to be nice. But I think the time for that is over.